and welcome to the Channel of Love. This is Lord's Brewing Co. And tonight we're doing something a bit different. We've got a wonderful guests from Daft About Craft podcast. Hello, Dave.
Hello. Good evening.
How are we doing? Going? You all right?
Yeah, we're very, very excited to be here. It's been nerve-wracking, really, isn't it, Dave? We don't usually.
It is, yeah. I've never done anything live like this before. It's one thing to do a podcast, but quite another to be live on YouTube.
The great thing about the podcast is you're completely anonymous and nobody knows who you are. But now, if anybody's interested,
this is what we look like.
Yeah, there's no hiding on YouTube, unfortunately. No. Everybody knows who you are, and
and what my kitchen looks like now as well. So
yeah, and how much love we've got to do. Well, this is my kitchen. I mean, here looks kind of organised. That side's total carnage. So that's just how it is. We've got some people in the comments already. We've got Josh Edwards in the house. Evening. We've got Phil Smith. Hello, beer people. How you doing, Phil? I put up the text Handsome John earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. Simo, my man Simo, how you doing? I sent you an email today, actually. We've got Simo. We've got Beer Dog. Chris has a review channel as well, reviews beers. He's got a very sophisticated palate. Lovely guy. David Wilson, hi all. How you doing, David?
There's loads of people here watching. I'm just a bit worried that the minute we start talking,
you'll see your numbers go down.
It's fine. It's fine. Beer Crony reviews, Chris. Another beer review. All the beer reviews in the house today. I'm feeling seriously outnumbered, if I'm honest. So tell us about your podcast and what you do.
Do you want me to start or do you want to go?
Yeah, you start, Dave. You tell a good story. You go for it.
All right. Well, basically, Daft About Craft's been going since last July. Like quite a lot of podcasts, we were sort of born out of lockdown. And it came about because Dave and I worked together. We've worked together for over 10 years. And in those 10 years, we've probably said about 10 words for the majority of that time. And then when lockdown happened...
Our paths don't necessarily cross that much. We work for the same company, but we wouldn't see each other that much. It's not just because we were ignoring each other.
Yeah. But then lockdown happened and we all got to see inside each other's living rooms, kitchens as you can now, things like that. And on one of the many Zoom calls that we had for work, I could see on the back of Dave's room where he was, because he's moved house since then, but he had the 1001 Beers to Try Before You Die book by Adam Tierney Jones. And I saw that and I thought, he might be quite interested in beer, because as anyone, if you like craft beer, you want to talk to everyone about craft beer until you're born rigid or they're really interested like you are. So started trying to sound Dave out a bit on chat and sort of find out if he was into it. And it's got a couple of answers back. And I was like, this guy's sort of as nerdy and as into it as I am. So this could really work. So we just got chatting, and then a podcast is something I'd always sort of had a half a thought about doing, but I wouldn't know the technical side of things very well. And then luckily Dave's got a background in that sort of thing as well. So it all just sort of fell into place. And now here we are, 8, soon to be 9 episodes later. And it's just touch wood, going from strength to strength.
Basically, Dave knows his beers really well. I like fiddling with buttons and knobs and stuff and the sound of my own voice. So it was a perfect match.
Well, that's it. It's a synergy. Made in heaven.
No, I do like craft beer as well. I'm a massive craft beer fan as well. Dave's knowledge is probably a little bit better than mine. But, the great thing about craft beer is you learn the whole time. Every day you learn a little bit more. It's brilliant.
Well, I've got to admit, so I got asked to come on your podcast. And
by the way, it's so much easier having someone on than it is being on. It's easier having control.
It was terrifying.
The tables have been turned now, haven't they? You're getting your own back.
Oh yeah, it's payback now. But I was like, yeah, I'd love to come on, and I was well up for it. I thought, well, that's a way off. I'm not going to worry about it. Got closer to the time, listened to more of the podcasts, and then that you can tell that they're ramping it up. You boys are ramping it up each time. And I was like, holy smokes! If they ask me something really technical, I have no clue what I'm talking about. If it goes into brewing or the nuances of beer, because it's just not me. And I was panicking, but you guys were really, what's the word? Gentle and nice with me, and it was I really enjoyed it actually, and we ended up staying up quite late, didn't we, Dave?
Gentle.
So, what were you all drinking, by the way? What you got over there? What are you drinking?
I think we're both on the same thing at the moment, unless you've already switched to the goes, Dave. But I'm drinking Partisan DD.
Got a bit of track on the go. Double IPA.
Oh, you stepped it up straight away and just gone. So Dave's on a dipper, and I'm on a 5.5% double dry hopped pale.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go backwards. I think start with a big one and work backwards. Yeah, this is what's this? 8%. Yeah, I'm not approaching this in the right way.
You'll be falling over before the end. I've got this Stormtrooper beer. One of my customers gave me this. They gave me this one. They gave me another Vocation beer, and then they gave me a bottle of bitter that's from what's the place called? The Tank Museum. And it's got a picture of a tiger on the front of it, which I thought was pretty cool. The tiger tank. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So not often I get beers off customers, but that was pretty cool. We got Hazy Haze in. How are you doing, Hazy Haze?
Envious,
You what? Sorry, Dave.
I'm already envious because that can you just showed us. I've never seen that one before, and I'm thinking I want that.
It just looks cool, doesn't it? I'm having some connection issues here. I think my lovely wife is probably trying to stream some high definition TV program upstairs.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know who it was. Which one of the trio it was? Whether it was you, me, or Dave. I'm not sure. Could be me.
It looked like it might have been you, actually, Dave. I'm afraid you went very jolty.
It can be sometimes. We use a platform called StreamYard, and quite often their servers get really busy some nights, and it just slows up. I think my wife is actually just streaming this on the telly downstairs as well, which probably doesn't help. That'll definitely slow it down. Gillian Ingram, hi Dave.
Switch it off.
From one of your biggest fans, Dave and Jill.
Now, Dave and Jill are massive podcast fans. They listen to every episode. So, good evening. And I already know they've bought the beers for our new feature as well on our podcast. So that's great stuff.
We'll talk about that later. We won't get plugged in too early on. We don't want to be too corporate too soon.
No, you can plug away.
We will, but all in due time. Let's get a few more beers and we'll loosen up even more then.
That's it. We'll be laughing.
Dave and Jill, what are you drinking? You must be drinking something. They drink more than us, Dave. It's incredible.
So that's a good one for the questions, actually. Whereabouts are you? What are you drinking? Sobieski in the house. The first time I met Sobieski was we did a live from the brewery, and he joined us, and we probably only had maybe 5 viewers. And he stuck with us all night, and we couldn't work out what he was saying because he'd had so much booze he couldn't type. And we were kind of a little bit squiffy by that stage as well, so it was carnage, absolute carnage. Derry Cannon, hello. So Derry used to work with us at Lords, and she's a brilliant manager, absolutely ace. She's just moved, which sucks, so we've lost her. So never mind. But we love you, Derry. Thanks for coming and saying hello. We've got Hazy Hayes. All good, John, mate. And then we've got... we've got a question. Yes, I have. So you two Daves, I know we have a lot of breweries in Huddersfield, and one of them is called the Nook in Holmfirth, and one's called Mallinson's. Mallinson's we know very well, and to be honest, they have given us more help than any other brewery in Huddersfield. Mallinson's an empire, so a big shout out to those guys. Scott and Wanda's in tonight. Evening all. Sorry, can't stay long. Watch Party with Wanda on Prime. Okay, fair enough. No problem. So that beer I've just had. That's a question on the Stormtrooper. What's your thoughts on the Stormtrooper beer? Was it in B&M? Barkins? Well,
yeah, I think you can get them in co-ops as well. That one.
Oh,
It's
really?
great where beers turn up these days, isn't it? Fantastic.
Well, when you think, I mean, it looks amazing, doesn't it? I love that can art.
No, isn't it?
Taste, yeah, it's all right. It's not really loud or mental or. It's a very sessionable, easygoing beer. I think I would guess that they've designed that so anybody could pick that up and buy it and not be disappointed. That would be my guess. So very inoffensive.
When we had you on our podcast, John, you were talking about how can art really seduces you into buying drinks that you wouldn't otherwise buy, and we were exactly the same. We just see stuff and think, "Oh yeah, that must be nice. We'll have that," just because of the can art. It's so powerful.
It is.
Oh yes,
obscene, beautiful can art that was done by a
That is
designer.
nice. The contents are quite nice as well.
Thank you. I've damaged this label, so can't sell it, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Oh,
better go inside you then.
Did you damage it on purpose by any chance?
No, I would never do something like that. Oh wow! Look at all the comments have gone mental. So we've got here we go. Let's whiz them on. I'm sorry if I've missed anybody's comments. Beer Dog says he's going to be checking your podcast.
No, brilliant. Hope he likes it.
Brilliant, thank you.
I'll put it at the bottom on the ticker tape at the bottom. So if anyone who wants to go and look it up, Phil saying hello. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. That's it. See that you guys just save on so much typing. You're always going to be 4 keystrokes up every time. Sobieski's on one tonight. Iron Brew and Vodka, the Haunted Coachman. Oof. My gosh. Yeah, I hope you haven't got work tomorrow. BB, is that how you pronounce it?
Brew by numbers. Yeah.
Brew by numbers, that's it, yeah. Brew by numbers. We've got Hazy Hayes. There's some fantastic breweries in Huddersfield, like the beer capital of the north, Lords of the Best. Yes, it is.
You see, it's been years since we've been to Huddersfield. We need to get there, Dave, don't we?
Yeah, I had a great time in Huddersfield last time. It was a little while ago, and obviously now you guys are sort of front and centre for who we want to come and visit, because hopefully you will take it as we mean it. But since we've had you on, and obviously we're both now subscribed to the Beer Box, we were that impressed, and I've told at least half a dozen people about Lords in terms of trying to get other people, and everyone who we've managed to give a beer to or whatnot, everyone's been impressed, haven't they, Dave?
They have, yeah.
I think you guys are real sort of undiscovered gems at the moment.
I really think so. My nephew's watching this tonight, and he's gone in with me on your Beer Box, and he's already had a couple, and he really liked them. He was talking just the other night about your coffee one, the one in the glass bottle. He really likes that. So hi, Dan. Well, I know you're watching. You told me you were.
Top man. The so that white coffee pale, we did it ages ago.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, and we've got an idea, so we sent some out as testers. But there's a little project in the pipeline, so we're thinking of doing something with it. So yeah, there is a plan. There is a plan with that. So you're going to get another copy one at some point, but I won't tell you when. because that would give the game away. And we need some tasting notes back from you.
I was a bit gutted, really, because we went halves on the box, and there was only one of those, so
you gave it away.
I had to give it away, and now I'm thinking, I really should have kept that. Never mind.
That has 40 kilos of coffee that
You're
we cold.
It worse now. You're making me really angry that I gave it away.
Yeah, it's a really unusual beer. Unusual. So next question for you. What is the hardest thing to do on a podcast? What's the thing that you find the most difficult?
I've never been asked that question before. It's a good one.
I find because we do different bits to put it all together, and I find the hardest bit is sometimes getting a brewery to come on and do a little voice note each month, because obviously you guys are working flat out sort of as 1, 2, 3-man band operations. So what we think is really easy to do 5 minutes of recording just sort of probably isn't, and that's always the thing I find hard.
We hate to pester people, but sometimes we just want a few minutes of audio from a brewer somewhere. And, he's probably working 12, 14-hour days trying to hone his craft. And, us pains in the rear harassing him for audio all the time. And so we sort of feel bad about that sometimes. But, equally they get some good publicity out of it at the end as well. So it is worth it for them.
It's probably time as well, I guess. Like, time can be a bit hard to find with the pod now. We were every month, but we wanted to get a bit more regular, so we've gone to every 3 weeks because, one, we hope people wanted to hear more of us, which seems to be the case so far, which is really pleasing. And also, yourself how quick all the beer stuff moves along. We didn't want to sort of start looking really out of date. You do something a month ago and everyone's sort of like, well, yeah, but things have moved on massively in that time, so...
A lot can change in 4 weeks. It really,
we started. Excuse me. We started a podcast called Beer Caddy, and me and Al did it. And we had all these plans for it, and then basically what happened was COVID came along and screwed it right up. So we would like to do a bit more with it. We've kind of been a bit slack. So we did try and record one about a week ago, but we were both in a terrible mood. And when we listened back to it, we sound like a pair of grumpy old men.
The great thing about it is, though, is when you're doing a podcast, if you start off in a grumpy mood, because you're drinking beers, it changes. Your mood changes pretty quickly.
As long as you're not a really melancholy drunk, then you're all right, probably.
Sometimes we'll start and we'll think, I don't know, we really want to do this, and you get a couple of dippers inside you, and it's a whole different ball game.
Happy
you can't stop talking.
I'm really sorry. I'm texting my wife, who's upstairs, trying to get her to turn everything off on the internet. Because my bandwidth, I'm literally watching it here, and it's like getting lower and lower and lower. And she just texts me back and says, I put my phone on charge, which means her phone will automatically update everything the minute it's charged. It's going on charge. So, I'm sorry if you're watching it.
People don't appreciate all these things we have to go through, don't we? Getting people to turn stuff off so we've got enough bandwidth for Zoom calls and all the rest of it. It's never ending.
It is. So we've got some big things here. Look, this message here. Who is Magic Rock? Lol.
Well, yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh, we're having major grief here. It's not letting me put comments up there. Here we go. Oh, so the Stormtrooper can was around £1 a can. That's, I mean, to give you an idea, we can't make a can of beer for £1. So the fact that they can sell one for £1, that's some serious economies of scale. What else we got in here?
There you go. There's a good one.
I think that's for you, Dave B.
No, but I am trying. I'm drinking a sour right now, if that helps. I'm drinking Polly's Goes Plant Sugar, which is a rhubarb and quince Goes, which I've got to drink for the podcast, if that sounds like a good reason, which it probably isn't. But I'm still trying with them. I just can't do sour. I can do fruity, and I've had a couple which haven't been too bad. I will get on Vault City. I don't mind those, but I'm still sort of struggling along with other bits. Whereas the other Dave is, sour is your beer of choice, isn't it? Style wise.
I love sours, and Jill, who's texted us there, she told us and her husband Dave, "Oh no, we don't like sours. We don't like sours." I said, "No, I will convert you. This is going to happen." So we did a Zoom call with them last week, and I got them some Vault City sours, and now they love sours. All it took was 3 sours from Vault City, and they're massive converts. So it just goes to show you get the right ones, and it can really push you along.
Is everybody on my screen? Is everybody watching seeing this all right? Because on my screen, everything's cutting out and going crazy. I don't know what the heck is going on with our internet. I might. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Your picture doesn't look the sharpest, but it seems all right.
My wife has just told me there's no buffering downstairs at all on the TV and everything's fine. So
I need to go.
Okay, so it probably is.
Oh, good.
Oh, well, that's fine. I can relax. I was like frantically panicking. I was like, oh no, this is going down the toilet. So that's good to know. I can breathe. I think what it is, I was saying to my wife before I came on, if it's just like me and some of the other YouTubers that I know, we all know what it's like, and it's kind of not as scary. But when I've got guests on who have never been on, I want it to be really slick, and then it just
look,
so it's a bit more stressful with guests on.
Yeah, exactly. When we have guests on the pod like yourself and other people, you sort of want to make a good impression, and you want to seem professional, and you want it to go well, don't you? And then if things don't work, you feel like a right dunce. But no, absolutely fine. It's nice to see people are actually tuned in and watching us for some reason as well. It's great stuff. Still find it hard to believe that people
comments.
Unbelievable scenes.
So go on then. How much beer are you getting?
Look, far too much. Far too much. The worst time is midweek when all the deliveries seem to come on one day. We've had 4 or 5 in a day before now, and it is ridiculous. But it's all in the name of tasting beer for the podcast. What can I say? It's we're professionals. We've got to have these beers delivered. It's hard, but we have to do it.
It's a price you're willing. Yeah, you're taking one for the team, effectively, aren't you?
I am.
You've got to have things to look forward to in lockdown as well.
Absolutely. You do have to have things to look forward to. The amazing thing is when you order some beers and they turn up, that moment they turn up on your doorstep, is fantastic, isn't it, Dave? Unwrapping the beers and seeing what you've got, and sometimes you can't remember what you've got because you've ordered too many, and then you unwrap them, and it's just a great feeling. A bit like when you're a kid and you got a letter that you didn't expect from somebody, and you opened it up, and it was a highlight of your day. Well, now as adults, when we get a beer delivery, that's the highlight of our day, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think it just speaks to your personality. If you've got a bit of an addictive personality, and you're never going to be able to drink all of the beers, but part of the fun is trying. So,
yeah,
I'm a bit like that. But I have to watch my addictive personality to be totally honest with you.
You've got the addictive personality as well. We've all got it. I've got 2 shelves in one of my fridges that are just full of out-of-date beers because I can't get around to drinking them because there's so many of them. But that's just the way it is. You want to keep sampling everything that's new. Fear of missing out.
Well, I get that. I totally get that. We've got a question from a beer reviewer. What are your favourite styles of beer?
Go on, Dave. You go first.
Okay, well, I would be on the lighter side of things. If I was probably just going to stay on something all night, it'd probably be something double dry hopped IPA. I do like New England IPAs, although I have found recently I've just started to tire of them slightly, and they've got to be really, really good or to be a bit different to sort of capture my interest. So there's not much I don't like. They'd probably be the 2 standouts. And I'm pretty sure I know what Dave will say, but Dave?
I like everything. What I should say is I'm willing to give everything a try. I do have favourites, and sours, goses, they're my go-to beers, but not always. It depends a lot on what time of year it is as well. It wasn't that long ago that I absolutely hated the sour beers. I couldn't stand them. And I know exactly the time, the place, and where it was that I changed my opinion. We went to the races at Haydock a couple of years ago in the summer, and Haydock being on Merseyside, we thought on the way back, it's not that far from Manchester. Well, it is really, but we thought, we'll go back via Manchester back home and pop in at Cloudwater, and they'd got various sours on tap, and I had one, and it just changed my whole perception of what sours were, and I absolutely loved it. From having hated them to loving them in one go. One drink did that, and then I love them now, and I can't get enough of them. But also, at this time of year in particular, stouts, porters, they go down very well. There's a beer for every occasion almost.
Wow. Well, I agree with you. I think for me, I had a similar experience with Fuller's ESB. I was always a lager drinker, and admittedly, I drank really rubbish lager. So I can say that. Put my hands up. I'm sorry.
You've got to tell us. What did you drink? What was it? You've got to tell us.
It was Fuller's ESB.
Fuller's ESB, right? Okay.
And that was it. Then I was on my journey then, and it was the Grove pub in Huddersfield, and me and my mates would go on a Thursday night to watch the Irish bands play their music, and we were like, have a few beers, and ESB is just so drinkable and does something to your legs, makes them really wobbly, and you just have a great night. And that was it, and that just started it. And I only found out recently that Goose Island, the guy that started that, had a Fuller's beer. That's what set him off on his journey. How cool is that? Yeah, so I feel like there's a little synergy there between us and Goose Island. Derry says he's a strong member of the anti-sour movement.
Welcome aboard, Derry. That's the way to be.
Absolutely shocking scenes.
I will say that I can't do sour stuff, but I had a Gers a few months ago, and I actually enjoyed it. By the time I got to the end of it, I was enjoying it. So yeah,
You've just,
I don't know if that's
you've just got to stick with these things. At some point, the switch will flick, and you'll think, "Yeah, this is good. I understand why people like this now. I've been resisting it for all these years, and I shouldn't have been. It's good. It will happen. Believe me, it will happen. You got to just keep with it."
This is Jack Welch is with you on the sours.
Now, he makes a really good point there. He says he can't handle the sweet stuff. There's a lot of barrel-aged stouts around at the moment, and man, they're just too sweet, far too sweet.
Well, he's my mate, and I have tried to get him to do bits and bobs, and yeah, something I don't think's very sweet is far too sweet for him. So I get it. I should probably actually. You say that, Jack, and I can probably work out some beers on the back of this. What you should try. So
we got Lee W in the house. So he's from Lutz. One of our avid customers, great follower, top man, and he's a wicked plasterer as well. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So if you need any plastering, do. Everyone's saying I'm so behind on the chat. Somebody says they've got a rave screen. That's.
I love this instant interaction. Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's good, isn't it? It's really good, and this is what I love. For me, it's building community. We have another guest. Who could it be? Hey.
Oh, who's it?
Evening, all.
So he's just one of the followers. We just let him on mid. No, not really. This is Paul's Beer Reviews. Paul's Beer Reviews. This is Dave and Dave B.
Are we doing Dave and Dave?
Hello, Dave. No, I'm not. No, I'm You're Paul. I'm Dave. Hello, Paul.
You're Dave. I'm Paul. Perfect. How are we doing? We all good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
Too many Dave. Yeah, we're all good.
I'm going to restart my router.
Okay.
And very quickly, I'm going to restart my router because everything is going. I've got pixels all over the place. So I'm going to go restart my router.
I was going to say,
I'll
you're
leave
looking
you
at
here.
fuzzy, mate.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes. Well, 5 minutes. I'll be back.
Gotcha.
So,
Right. What were we talking about? What are we drinking first off?
Well, I'm on somewhat reluctantly, as we were just saying. It's for podcast purposes. Actually, I'm drinking Polly's Rhubarb and Quince Goes, the plant sugar. And if you like a Goes, great. If you don't, like I don't, it's fine.
You love it. You love it.
It slows me down, in fairness.
I've not had anything from Polly's Brew for a while. I don't think I've had anything from them since they changed the name, if I'm honest.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Oh. They seem to have gone from strength to strength since they changed their name.
Yeah, it seems that way. I remember they first came out, the local Polly thing, and I thought how good the beer was then.
Yeah.
And then, it seems it's been within 6 months of starting up, they changed the name, and I lost track of them because I had no idea they'd done that. And now then the penny finally dropped after a while, and I was like, right, I see. Can caught us all out.
What about you? What have you got on the go?
I'm drinking a Weizenbock from Free Assembly Brewery. Yeah, I think they're a bit of a contract brewer. I know they're based in England, but they do very experimental brews for different breweries. So this is it's quite pleasant. This one, quite a light. You've got the light kind of Weizen bits to it, a bit of the sort of toffee, banana, and clove and that. But it's probably a good introduction to the style if you're not familiar with it. So it's quite nice beer. So the artwork's a bit out there. That's very funky. But that one came in my latest Beer 52 box. So not bad that one.
I used to get the Beer 52, then I had it for a year or so. Then eventually I cancelled it, and they're all right. But just sometimes you get ones you think, I could get that from somewhere else. No problem. But it's nice to have a selection turn up every month, and you don't know what's going to come. I do like that.
Yeah, that is the plusage with them. You get beers from breweries that you would never have heard of otherwise. That is very.
I found a few breweries, like you say, that you would never have been on your radar otherwise, and they're really good.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the days was on the Polly's Brew. What were you drinking?
I've got a double IPA from Track, if not now, 8%.
Oh, nice. Any good?
Very good, yeah. I probably shouldn't have really started with this one. I've got a feeling that's probably what I do. I might have to tone it down for the next one a bit. Going in with an 8% is a bit heavy, isn't it? But yeah, it's really good.
Plan always goes out the window when you're doing this. You just think, what's the tastiest beer I can grab first? And then you realise the ABV and you think, oh, blimey, could be in trouble. Could be in trouble.
We had John was on our podcast a couple of episodes ago, and we started chatting to him about 8:30 in the evening. And Dave ducked. What time did you duck out, Dave?
I finished about 11 because I had work the next day, but you didn't. And I said, I messaged you just as I was going up, and I said, I bet you'll be on until about 2, because I could just tell that you were both sort of there for the long haul.
We finished at 3:30. It was, yeah. When you just get into that rhythm and you're chatting and talking and that the beers keep flowing, it's great. I suppose it's a bit like being in the pub, but there's no closing time, is there?
That's it. You don't have to go very far to get the next beer either, do you? Which makes it quite dangerous.
Yeah.
I've noticed that doing these live streams. I do a live stream on a Saturday afternoon, and I've noticed how quickly my legs are going. Normally, I never had that problem because I get up and walk to the bar for the next one. I'm not having to do that now. It's like the fridge is like a couple of yards away, so it's getting lazy. Turning into a lazy drinker during this lockdown. It's a right pain in the ass, but there you go.
So, how did you get into all of this then?
Well, I thought I started off watching one or two other beer review channels. I've always enjoyed my beer. I mean, mainly it was macro lagers and everything when I first started drinking, when I was first old enough to drink. And then the last 10 years or so, I started drinking sort of different styles. I think like a lot of other people, I discovered Punk IPA, and I think that changed a lot. And then Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale and Blue Moon, those 3 beers. I think when I first discovered them, I kind of thought, oh my God, is this how beer's supposed to taste? It was, and then I started expanding and buying different things in the supermarkets. And then I started realized there were people on YouTube that were reviewing beers. And I thought, I could do that. And then, I started a little channel a couple of years ago. And didn't really think it would pick up, anyone would be interested. But, the last year or so, I think with people being at home and being a bit more selective about what they're drinking, the channel's really picked up. Now we're doing a lot of these things, these live streams, and having these virtual pubs. And that's kind of the story, really. I think everyone's drinking at home now. So,
do you think that when these lockdowns eventually end, will you be in a rush to get back to the pub, or are you just happy sitting here and talking to people on the internet?
I will be keen to get back to the pub, definitely, but I don't think I'll be there. I doubt I'll be there as much, if I'm honest.
That's what we think, really. Obviously the atmosphere in the pub is great, but you sort of think, well, if there's a beer I want, I can get it delivered to my house and it'll be here tomorrow, and I can drink it at my own pace, no closing hours, drink it whenever I want. It's hard to get out of that mindset and think what life will be like back in the pub. It's so easy now.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the local pubs, the beer quality isn't always that great, and the selection isn't always that great. And like you say, when you can order beer, directly to your door from breweries up and down the country, not to mention around the world, it has opened a lot of doors all of a sudden. I think a lot of people's attitudes will have changed. But it's replicating the pub atmosphere. I think that's what people are missing. That's the main thing. But we're trying with things like this. All the comments, we've got a load of people watching, and everyone's trying to get stuck in and out, which is great. But I have thought about this. What will happen with YouTube from a beer point of view? Because there's been a lot of new creators that have really popped up in the last year, and some of them done really well. I do wonder if the rise in subs might slow down a little bit when the pubs open up. That'll be interesting to see. But
I guess it'll probably be like almost anything really. If you're doing something people want and you're committed that, you know, when pubs open, we're not going to sort of suddenly stop doing the podcast, for example. We want to keep doing that and everything, and you keep doing your review channel and that. And if people still want that, I think you'll be fine. I suspect it's the people who may be jumping on just a bit like, oh, I want to do this in lockdown, and then normal life returns, and then maybe you'll drop off a bit, and then just sort of think, oh, I can't be bothered to do it this week, and then that becomes 2, 3, 4, and before you know it, it's just stopped again. But I think this has probably created some sort of little industries, for want of a better word, hasn't it? Now, like, I think if you want your beer review, and as you say, if you can still get it on your doorstep and everything, even going back out into the world, hopefully you'll still be like, well, I'd actually like to know what Paul thinks about it, so I'm still gonna view it and everything.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. If people are still happy to invite me into their homes and have me talk waffling on about beer for 10 minutes, then great. You know, but it all comes down to the numbers. If people are starting to turn off, then I'll know why. But I'm happy to keep doing this. I'm enjoying it. It's like a journey in that sense. The beer discovery thing is great, and people seem to be enjoying it. And we've met a lot of people and spoken to a lot of really, really good people amongst it. So I think it's only a positive thing. So I'm hoping people will stick with it. But
well, I mean, people will still take their phones out and stuff, won't they, as well? So you've got that advantage.
Yeah, we're mobile now, aren't we? So no excuses. So yeah, but let me just catch up with some of these comments. We've got a few here. I don't know if I can click on them.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, looking crystal clear as well.
I was about to say, John. There you go. They're looking sharp.
I think I fixed it. We're miles behind on comments now. There was a serious panic going on there. Serious panic. I've reset the router. I've reset the Wi-Fi extender. I've banged my head under the desk checking on the cables. We're good. Oh, it's glamorous on YouTube.
Love it. I'll just say hello to everyone who said hello. I didn't get through to the messages, but hello guys.
Okay, so let's quickly whiz through here. Both days are very clear. Yeah. Just been. Okay.
Hey John, I saw your video today in the snow. By the way, excellent.
It was mega. I mean, like, what
that
you
was
didn't
deep
see.
snow.
Well, if you let it, it'd go to your waist. It was pretty deep. It was mad. So here we go. I have a beer bottled in 1998 and it's still in date. Wow.
Blimey.
Dibble doesn't drink though, so I don't know. Yeah, he's teetotal. So there you go. Here we go. Scott and Wanda, they're having a bit of a rough time at the moment. So, bless them. Our thoughts are with you guys at the moment. Graham's in 101. Phil, right? We are so far behind. I'm going to have to skip a bunch of people. I'm really sorry because it'd take us half an hour.
I don't like all these people saying they don't like sour beers. Skip all those. Skip more.
There we go. Okay. So now the problem is I don't know what questions Paul's asked you. So if I ask you the same one, you'll have to tell me.
We were chatting about are we looking forward to getting back into the pubs, or are we going to be a little bit reluctant? Yeah.
I'm just going to go and grab another beer, so I shall see you in 2 minutes.
Yeah, no worries. No problem. I will remove you and then put you back on. So I don't know about the pubs. It's there's a lot of theories as to what will happen. But yeah, I don't know.
I do really want to get back. I do miss it now. For a while, I could take it or leave it. Although I was always very much of the opinion, without getting dragged down this road, I don't want to. But I always felt in all the various stages of how the country was. The hospitality in pubs, especially, like the places where I like to go, and that's around the country because I managed to get a few around the country just before everything shut down. We're trying so hard, even with like the rules and regs changing seemingly every sort of 30 seconds, to do everything they could. And I sort of felt safest in there out of anywhere outside of being at home. I thought, I'd rather do that than go around normal shops and everything and whatnot. So I can't wait to get back because I think personally hospitality's had a bit of a rough deal, but then I would say that, I guess. But I can't wait to get back. But the thing I do think now is, as we were saying when you're away, John, like now you can get, if I want a beer from yourself, I can order it and it'll turn up in a couple of days. So having that power now to get all these amazing beers to your fingertip, to your doorstep, like straight away is really tempting. But there is still definitely something about going to the pub and the bar and the brew tap and whatnot and enjoying that.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think Simo made a really interesting point back here. When the pub's open, I won't rush. I'll let all the nutters get out there and fill their boots, and I'll venture out once it's calmed down. And I see that. But I also see a flip side to that, which is we'll all miss it, we'll go, and then there'll be that dude that, there's always that one guy that you want to slap who just can ruin a night just like that. And you think, I don't know why I bothered coming out.
That's really interesting because we had that sort of in one of the various stages. We went out to a place because I live in Suffolk. I live near Ipswich. We went out in Ipswich, myself and my other half, and we went to a place. There's not a lot in Ipswich in terms of craft beer, but there's one place, Arcade Tavern, really good. Do tap takeovers, generally really good stuff on selection in the fridge and on tap. And went in there, and it was a Thursday afternoon or something, and there was a load of blokes who you could tell they'd had exactly the same idea of, I'm not going to let all the idiots go out on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening and we're going to get drunk now. And I was like, that's fair enough. You're not harming anyone. But then there was sort of some other sort of people that were just not usually in that kind of place without sounding too snobby. And it made it really uncomfortable. And my other half didn't like it at all. And I didn't mind it, but it was just like, is this what it's going to be? Like, now everyone's just going to go bang right back in, and it's going to make it not what it used to be until everyone gets out of their system, as Simo says. So,
yeah.
I think Simo's bang on the money there. To be fair, I'm not going to rush out as soon as the doors open again. I will go out for a pint when I fancy going to the pub for a pint. I'm not going to be overawed by the whole, they're open again. I was kind of someone who went down a pub once a week normally, in general. It was a weekend, Saturday afternoon, watching the football with my pals sort of thing. But it wasn't, I'm too old to get Larry and a boozer now. It was watching the football, having a chat, and then go home because we've all got the wife and kids thing to do now anyway. So I'm a bit beyond that. But it's that atmosphere. It's being with your mates, watching the sport, having a couple of good cask ales. That's what I've missed the most, So I would rather let people get it out of their system and then gradually get myself back into the pub, Yeah,
I agree with that. I think I feel that way. But in the same way, those pubs need to make that money back quick.
Yeah.
Dave, I left you down in the basement for ages. They need that quick hit of cash as well to get everybody back on their feet. And I hope it works. I wonder how many incentives. Like we had the Eat Out to Help Out. I wonder if they'll do stuff to help hospitality get back on its feet. I hope they do, because that's really what we need. If public spending starts to go up, then the economy will recover really fast. So beer dogs, but it's small, traditional, independent pubs that I like, and will be supporting when things are more normal. And those are the ones that will need the support. The big chain pubs will be fine. Yeah, I
inclined to agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you think also though that during lockdown and the whole last year, really, people have found a lot more breweries. They've sought them out and bought from them directly. So those craft brewers have found themselves with a lot more customers than maybe they would have had before because people have come across them. I'm sure that's happened. I mean, we've come across a lot of brewers, haven't we, Dave? That we wouldn't have found otherwise.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking. I think one of the things you were probably going to ask in a bit, John, was about how do we? Well, we sort of got to it now, haven't we? How do we see things post-pandemic? And I'm hoping, like obviously you guys have got a brewery tap, and all the places that have got those attached, I'd like to think they're going to see a massive uptick in sales because people have found these breweries, and if they're local to them, great. If they're not, hopefully they can maybe plan trips around it and get there. And all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, I've had all your beers. Like, I ordered from you for 6 months and I've always wanted to come see it. And I'm hoping that might be sort of a bit of a positive that comes out of this. But the sort of brew taps are just going to go, they were doing well and they were already, it seems like all the breweries are sort of adding one on now. But all of a sudden that might become a real big revenue stream.
Well, I'd like that. I mean, that would be amazing for us. Our tap room is an absolute pig to operate. Derry will tell you what it's like. It's a beautiful place, but we literally, it's all open plan and we have one entrance, one exit. So it's you've got to turn everything around, tidy it all up from being a factory into a tap room, and that's blooming hard work.
It's not
COVID
friendly then.
No, it's not, but it is an awesome place. So we're hoping that maybe after lockdown there might be some empty venues.
I think the gap between the tap room and the pub is really going to shrink.
Yeah,
up again because I used to drink in the Mad Squirrel tap room before all this kicked off, and it was busy, but there was always enough room for a table and to have a few beers and enjoy yourself. I reckon once it comes back in, I reckon that place is going to be packed. And I think the other pubs in the area will start thinking, well, hang on, what are they doing that's so special? So and I think the problems will stop for the pubs once things get back to normal because they'll be looking over their shoulder at the tap room down the road all of a sudden, So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that is a definite thing. I will definitely be up to Lords. I checked the trains the other day. Only 6 hours.
Well, if that's a train that then stops at Sheffield to then go on, he can always go on the tap on the platform there as well to break the journey up.
Right.
Genius.
So, getting back to your podcast, have we asked you? We need to ask you some more podcasty questions. So, I have to. It's all going wrong for me technically. I have to put my phone down here to try and get it to charge up. And I wrote some notes earlier today. That's how organised I am. Modest too. And I wanted to ask you a few questions, actually. Here we go. So, if I can find the questions, where I write them. Okay, so this is Paul, you could answer this question as well. I think it and this is fascinating for me. So, what for you is a great beer? What for you is a great beer? What beer do you? What qualifies a great beer?
Am I going first?
Yeah, go for it.
You go first.
A great beer is one that you can drink a few of, and one that makes you want to keep going back. You can drink a really good 11% Imperial Stout or something like that if you want, but you don't particularly want another one straight after. For me, I think a good beer is one that you could have 2 or 3 of and want that second one and want that third one. So when someone says what makes a great beer, the first beer that comes to mind is Fuller's ESB, because it's one you can relax with, it's one you can watch sport with. It just seems to be a beer for all times, if that makes any sense. And you can drink a few of them. Granted, it's not the lowest ABV beer in the world, but it's delicious, and you could drink a few without getting in too much of a mess. I think that's what makes a good beer for me. one that's always reliable, a dependable beer.
Well,
that's interesting because, you know, I drink quite a lot of imperial stouts, your 10, 11, 12, 13, 14% stouts. And obviously you don't want to be drinking shed loads of those. And a lot of those are really great beers, but they're beers for a special occasion. You know, I've got a cupboard downstairs full of stouts. I think I'll put that to one side. I'll dig that out when there's something special happening. And they're great beers. But you, like you say, you can't drink those beers every day, can you? You know, you'd find yourself in a bit of a state if you drank a few of those every day. So your sort of session pales, your session IPAs, I love those. I had one the other night. It was a Pomona Island session, and it was great. You know, you could easily sink a few of those, no problem, and not feel terrible the next morning. It just depends what you want. If you want a beer to celebrate something, that's one end of the spectrum. If you want to down a few, it's the other end of the spectrum. It just depends what you want.
Yeah,
I think that's absolutely on the money, really. And go on, Dave. What do you think?
I see Dave's wife's popped up again on the chat and said one you can recall 2 weeks later, and I'm inclined. I like that. That makes sense to me. But the thing I would say is if a beer says it's going to be something, and then it delivers it to the money, then that's a great beer for me. Doesn't matter if I don't necessarily like it, but if you tell me something's going to be I don't know, chocolate banana stout, and it tastes like a chocolate banana stout, and you've got it right, and you've got those flavours, and I can remember all of those flavours and think, yeah, that was a chocolate banana stout. You filled the brief, and that's a great beer for me. Yeah. You know, I get fed up when a lot of brewers and they'll sort of say, oh, you know, this is packed full of this, and you get this, that, and the other, and you go, no, I don't. I'm sorry, I just don't. You know, and case in point, actually, chocolate orange, because I finally had that chocolate orange because I didn't get to have it when we were on that night, and that chocolate orange is superb. And hopefully you saw my review on Untapped, and I said that is how to do the chocolate orange conundrum, because so many brewers get it wrong for me, and it's too much malt, not enough chocolate, and it just becomes a malty chocolate beer.
I'm so glad that someone likes it, because a certain person on here.
Yeah, you're not a fan, Paul.
He hated it.
Don't bring me in this. I wish I never said anything now.
I thought it was incredible as well. I really liked it, and we're not just saying that. I really did.
No, we're not. It was
fact,
like
so much. I've
chocolate
got
orange.
There. I might go and open in a minute. It's a great beer. Really enjoyed it, but because it fulfills the brief, it does what it sets out to do. And a lot of the time on the podcast, we review beers, and it says this, that, and the other, and you drink it, and you think, oh, no, it doesn't do that. If only they'd have actually described what it really does on the can, they'd be okay. But they describe it as something else, and then it misses the mark. So it's not what they set out to achieve. Just tell me on the can what it is. We'd be a lot happier then. We really would.
I'm with you.
When they get it wrong, you're not going to go back to it, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
No, exactly.
It tars the reputation a bit for me, because then they'll say they're doing something else, and I'll look at that and think, oh yeah, but I remember that one you said was this, and I didn't like it, so I'll go try someone else's that I haven't had and see if you can do it right. So,
yeah.
See, what's interesting is I think Paul, when you reviewed it, So Paul reviewed it, and what you got from the smell was washing up liquid. That orangey smell.
Is that because it's orange oil, isn't it? In that
it is, yeah.
And some people smell it like washing liquid, because I know Left-Handed Giant have done their milk stout, and they've done a chocolate orange version, and I've had that, and yours reminds me of that, and then other people said that smelled like fairy liquid. So it must be, perhaps it's something with the orange oil, I'm guessing.
I think it is. I think it's totally that.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, me personally, it's not my favourite one that we do. And I think it's that orange sort of extract is almost, I mean, it's just mental. The tiniest amount goes so far. But it's very, yeah, it's a real Marmite beer, and you guys love it, but Paul hates it. I've given it to a couple of friends. One of them like loved it, other one hated it.
When you crack that can, the orange just sort of leaps out of the can and smacks you in the face. I suppose if you don't like it.
I just don't think chocolate orange in a beer works for me. I say I love a Terry's chocolate orange. That's the thing. But I also tried the White Hag's chocolate orange porter just before Christmas as well. I didn't enjoy that one either. So it's just, I think it's obviously just a style that doesn't work for my palate. But again, that is the beauty of beer, isn't it? One person
exactly
can hate something, and other people absolutely love it. So it's.
We say this a lot on the podcast. Just because we don't like something doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. We just don't like it. For every person that doesn't like something, 10 people will like it. It's completely and utterly subjective. Everybody sees something different and tastes something different.
I totally agree. I mean, there's some beers that people I know absolutely, they think it's the best beer that they've ever had, and I'll drink it and I'll think, I don't have the heart to say it. But then me and Paul had a beer at Scott and Wander's place, and we were it was so funny. So I turn up, they're like beer reviewers, and I'm like, oh, I'm so out of my depth. And I had this, was it Siren and who was it? It was
it was Siren, Salt, and one other brewer were involved. I can't remember who it was now. It was 3 breweries that were bringing together elements of their sort of flagship IPA. I can't remember what it was called now. Went in Morrison's about 6 months or so ago.
So when I had it, it was like, I'm thinking, well, I know how much a can of beer costs. The ABV is quite high. It's got loads of flavour in there for what it is. And the fact that all the names are on there were very much like irrelevant. It was just the fact that they've made a beer to a point. And when I tried it, I was like, yeah, that's all right. I mean, that's coming out in Morrison's. I was like, yeah, this is all right. And then, so I give you a recommendation. Paul and Scott go off and try it, and they're like, this is horrible. I was like, ah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Yeah, but that's beer for you.
It is.
The Bandon Car, a porter done properly. I still say, Daniel, though, it's so beautiful in a bottle. We need to get some more in bottle at some point. You can actually buy it in mini keg 5 litre now, and it's as it would be in the bottle. It's like spot on. So I've got another.
Are we going to get some bottles in the subscription box then at some point? Do you think?
Yeah, we will do. It won't be on the next one. So on the next one, we've got a little surprise for everybody. Hopefully, all being well. We're aiming to get them out on the 20th. Spice and Easy, who are on at the moment, what we're going to do is they do an amazing curry like spice set, and you can make beautiful curries. So what we were thinking of doing is we're going to get a little packet, a spice packet in everybody's beer subscription on the next one, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a curry together, and we're going to try some beers with the curries, and we're going to get all sorts of people on, and we're going to just try and see what everybody thinks. And it's going to be completely interactive and completely
sounds awesome.
Total carnage, but it'll be great fun. So we want to make the next one just like something that nobody's ever done before. There's probably a good reason why they haven't done it before, but we'll have a go. So yeah, in answer to your question, Dave, as I went off on a complete tangent, yes, we will have some bottles in there at some point.
Brilliant.
So definitely coming. So Gillian's put here, I think the hype or tripe part of the podcast is great because the build-up is often misleading with some breweries.
We had the hype or tripe beer we had on our last episode was Verdant's Putty, which is the ultimate hype beer. because it's been everywhere. If you go on Facebook or Instagram, it is literally everywhere. Every bottle shop's got it, really bigging it up. So we thought, well, we've got to have that beer on. So that was our Hypotrite beer on the last episode. And, to coin a phrase that Dave B likes to use a lot, it was all right. It just,
and it was, wasn't it? It was all right. You wouldn't say it was terrible, but you would not pick it out. And the thing I took away from it, and I think we might see it more and more, and I'd say we're already seeing it because I already know what the next one we're doing is, and I think that's exactly the same. But I won't give it away because it's coming out next week. But breweries are getting wise to it, I think, and there's an idea that if we can hype this to the moon and back, everyone's going to buy it, and then it doesn't matter. Like I say, it doesn't matter. Obviously, their reputation's on the line, so quality control will still be there. But people are going to get more and more into that, I think, and it's going to be more of like, is this good? Is this bad? Doesn't matter. We're going to tell you it's amazing, and it's going to be pushed and pushed. So,
well, I can only say for the market,
it's almost a case of the. I was going to say, from the market, it's almost as though the marketing and the advertising, the marketing and the advertising is almost, in some cases now, more important than the actual beer itself. If you push it enough,
the marketing of Putty was brilliant because it was almost like they told you you'd been waiting for it, even if you hadn't even realised you'd been waiting for it. And I know some people would have been because it's a yearly thing, and they would know that time of year is when Putty comes out. But the way they pushed it to me was it was a bit like, oh, didn't you know Putty's out? Oh, you've got to have Putty. Putty's amazing. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, no, all right, I've got to have Putty. Because I think that's sort of how people are. Again, I mean, Dave's a great example of fear of missing out. So you wanted it regardless. And even if we hadn't reviewed it, you would have got it because you'd have wanted to know, wouldn't you? Yeah. So,
yeah.
Well,
I can't bear people to be drinking beers that I'm not drinking. So I have to get them all in. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think
but again, that is marketing and advertising for you. Look how powerful it is.
Can we talk about Megan just for a minute, John? Just.
I looked that up because I thought that's got to be football related. I'll just leave it there and see if it reacts and Paul gets wound up. So it clearly is that. How many subscribers to the box is there? We've got 31 subs to the beer box at this point.
That's gone up a lot then. Because when we last spoke, it was about half that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's flying. We were actually kind of panicking at one point because we're like, if this goes to like 50 before the 20th, we've got to make sure we've got everything in stock. I've got a beer. I've got something exciting for you. Paul, this is going in the box. I'll show you now. Don't tell anybody.
I thought it was messing about then. John went like that and stayed like that. I've got something. That's the thing with John. He does that. He'll let you think that it's frozen, and he'll sit there and crack a smile halfway through. Stop it, man.
I can't do it. It's the blooming RTV light it away now, don't they? Yeah. So I've got an interesting beer here, and you guys, blooming hammer. Let me turn me. We've got too many gadgets here. Too many gadgets. I'll turn this light off. There we go. And here we have a can by Pig Love and Jim's Bottle Shop. And Pig Love are based in Leeds. Emma runs the Jim's Bottle Shop. The most knowledgeable lady about beer I've ever met. Amazing. Just every time I go in, I deliver beer and I end up walking out with a box of beer. She just, have you tried this? And what about that, John? And have you thought of that? So what we thought we might do, this beer is one that they did together. And it's a Cloudy Adrift Atypical Porter, 5.4%. So we thought we might put this one in the box for you because I don't know how many people have had a Pig Love beer.
No.
And
No.
like they do some really crazy stuff. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. I've kept this one because I'm not going to open it until you guys join me on the journey. But that's one for the penciled in for the beer box. So we don't want it to be all just about us because that's very boring because we only make so many beers. So
I tell you, I do I get one of the Northern Monk boxes every month, and one of the obviously their beers are great, but you never quite know what else is going to be in there because they always have 3 beers from another brewery, and one of the great things about opening the box is seeing who else is in there, and all sorts of people pop up in there, ones you wouldn't necessarily go to, so it gives you a chance to try something else. I think it's a great idea.
Here's a good question here. Where can I find your podcast, guys?
Everywhere.
Wherever you listen to music or anything. Hopefully, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes, Castbox, Deezer, yeah,
everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere. Just search Daft About Craft.
If you any sort of app where you listen to music, just search Daft About Craft, one word, and we will be there.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah,
sorry.
No.
So,
I was just going to say there's now 9 episodes there, so feel free to download the whole back catalogue and listen to them, won't you?
They're very well put together. I will say. Paul's a massive podcast consumer, aren't you, Paul?
Oh yes, do like my podcasts. I work outdoors, so I have them in my ears.
Nice.
So it's I do like to catch up with me beery podcast, definitely.
Sorry, I had a mouthful of beer then. So one of the questions was, could you ever see yourselves coming on YouTube?
No. I couldn't. I said this today about Dave. Like, how has this happened? Like, we started this last summer with the idea that we wanted to make a podcast people would listen to, and that's what it is. People listen to it as Paul says, outside listening to it, doesn't have to see our faces or anything like that, and so much the better. So I never expected to be doing anything like this. And now we're doing it. It's great. It's really, I can absolutely see why this medium works.
It does.
It's really great.
It's so far out of our comfort zone, but it's great to get the instant feedback from people. It's really good.
It's lovely. And I think, if I'm totally honest, YouTube absolutely saved our backside last year. We'd have been absolutely stuffed if we hadn't taken the plunge into it. And Paul, Paul's one of the people that has helped me so much. I don't know what to say. Like, Paul has promoted me, got me on the LOL Live on a Sunday afternoon for a few bevies. The Scott and Wonder, Simon from the Real Ale Craft Beer channel, Johnny and Brad from CBC, all those guys, everybody, Mark, Beer Hooligan, all sorts of people, Chris, Beer Dog, the list just goes on and on and on of all the people that have been really positive, really encouraging, and just said, look, you need to do this and do that, and then I'd get too busy and I'd forget half the stuff, but they throw me in there and get me involved, and it's been amazing. I mean, most of our orders have come through YouTube, which has been incredible, absolutely incredible. So, it's been it's still terrifying. I mean, like now, we're in the 2nd of January. It's nearly a full year since the first lockdown, and I'm still just as nervous as I was when I did the first one. So, but it's good fun. So, do you see, right, Joe Rogan? Have you heard of Joe Rogan who does podcasts?
Yeah.
Yep.
Could you see yourselves doing the podcast but filming it and then uploading the film of it onto YouTube So you're not doing it live, but you upload that bit and then put the other bit on every other platform.
I just think who wants to watch us? Yeah. Why would you want to watch us?
We have talked about it a little bit, but yeah.
Maybe the
I
people.
mean, we were always really surprised. Like, if you follow us on Instagram, I will generally follow you back, and I always try and make a point of sending a message where it shows that I've looked at your profile and I've liked your stuff and I've realised what you're doing, rather than just some automated message, which then you just look at it and go, oh, it's a bot or something. And every so often, like once out of every, I don't know, 20, 30, someone goes, oh, I'm already listening. And then I'm like, what? Hang on, what? No, you're not. No one listens to this. So I'm always really surprised every time there's that bit of interaction. So
I get it. I get it.
There's a new brewery.
Sorry, go for it.
So there's a new brewery just opened up in my neck of the woods, and we contacted them on Instagram. We found out they were already listeners to the podcast, and when you hear that, it's one, it's surprising, and then two, it's really nice to know that people are tuning in every time and enjoying what we're coming up with. It's sort of the ultimate compliment when people come back and they listen. It makes it worthwhile.
You can see, like, you guys have obviously got your listeners that are turning up. You now sort of you become your friends and that because they keep coming back for every more of them, which is brilliant. Paul, do you get the same? You get the same people sort of turning up and
you get the same crowd on the Saturday afternoon. You get the same names, the same faces, as it were. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. Like what you mentioned earlier, when I first started the channel, I was kind of umming and ahhing about it for a while. I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to put myself out there? Is anyone even going to watch it? And for ages, no one did really. And then all of a sudden, something clicked. And then you realise there's lots of other like-minded drunkards out there. And it's become a lot of fun. So, you just got to take the plunge sometimes, haven't you?
I like it. I really like your podcast. I didn't know it was a thing until I listened to your podcast. There's this thing called podcast envy, and you listen to somebody else's editing, and you're like, "Flipping heck! I wish I knew how to do that," because I can't do that. I mean, Paul's listened to us. The first one had no intro at all. The second one had an intro, and then we discussed the intro, and so they tend to be a bit all over the place, but. We need to do something with our podcast. We really do. But you guys do it so well. I mean, it's done very, very well. I think you guys could easily record it and load it to YouTube as you go. I think it would be no skin off your nose.
You're desperate for that one.
I think you're brilliant. I really think. Yeah, I think you just add it on. You just film it as you go. And then just load it on after. Just upload it. That's it.
So how did you guys start, Dave and Dave? Were there other podcasts that you listened to and you thought we should do this, or was it just something that just popped in your head one day and I thought we'll go for it, or what?
We talked about this a little bit earlier. We worked together, and we suddenly realised we had this mutual interest of craft beer. And the other Dave had always wanted to do a podcast, and I'm sort of into the technical side of things a little bit. So we thought, well, let's do it. Let's try it and see what happens. And every episode now is getting more and more people downloading it, which is brilliant. It's difficult to get that sort of traction in the first place, to get it moving and get people downloading. But it seems to be that once they're coming back for more, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's really encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you get reviews and things? How often do you get feedback on the podcast? I mean, is that getting bigger and bigger as well?
That's it. It is going one way. All of a sudden, like, we were really happy with how things had gone sort of from July till December, and we sort of anticipated Christmas time. People aren't, Christmas time is Christmas time, even for the Christmas we all just had. But then so from about New Year onwards, it just went through the roof. Like, I don't know whether it's because people have just accepted they're in lockdown some more. So, right, God, I need to find more podcasts or whatever. But it's just skyrocketed. And, you know, there's been some other stuff going on with the pod, which we're really excited about. And other things are happening in the background, but that's not really out there yet. And, like, yeah, it's just taken off. And it's been so exciting to see. And I'm not particularly positive by nature. So I keep waiting for the bottom to fall out of it, basically. But,
yeah,
Maybe the ultimate pessimist. I think that's why we work quite well. Because
that's true. That does balance us
half
out.
full, half empty.
Yeah, Dave's very
the
half
opposite.
full. My glass usually is rolled off the table and smashed. So
That's funny, isn't it? That is funny. I've got to say, like, I think it's definitely a character thing, and you need to have opposites to almost bounce off one another. I mean, Paul is the most humble person I've met. I'm the absolute opposite. I'm and he's constantly telling me off for being a show off. He's like, yeah, why have you got that? And I'm like, because why not? And he's like, you don't need it though. Yeah, but it becomes a point of fun, really. It's like on the we do. Somebody mentioned about my chair earlier. Does your chair normally help with the signal? So I've started doing on a Sunday afternoon. I come on Paul's live feed, which is like a virtual pub, and I normally have a few beers. But I've got this old wing-back chair that I rescued that was going to go in a skip, and I sit in that, and I get the camera just right so you can see the fireplace, and it's just hilarious, isn't it? We just get loads of comments about the chair, and it's just a source of silliness.
He sits there looking very regal, usually drinking one of his own beers as well. You know,
I saw you cracked one of yours just now as well. The old Mount Helix.
The 6% bad boy in the can.
And that's a belter as well.
That is a very good beer. That is for someone, I don't even like Westies that much, but I like that one a lot. That is a nice Westie.
It's all right.
I drank a keg of that on Saturday afternoon and ended up in a pretty bad way.
So the question is,
isn't it? We have this.
No, it's all right, Dave. I think I've got a delay between you and me because, I kind of get you like 2 seconds after everybody else. But yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting you. I feel very rude. I'm sorry, Dave.
Don't worry. No, go on. All yours, go on.
Yeah, so Paul, we never got to the end of it. What is better, the slightly darker 6% longer dry hop, or in a can, or the unfiltered 5% lighter beer, dry hop for slightly less time in the mini keg?
I preferred the can. I preferred the 6%, the slightly more hazy one, but there wasn't much in it. There wasn't much in it, to be fair. Just the can just had a bit more depth in flavour to it. But that 6% makes it slightly less sessionable as well. So they both had their pluses, really.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's cool. It's not very light. It's meant to be a pale ale, but I don't think it's particularly pale.
No, it's not for a pale, definitely. But it's a belter. The can version is a slightly better. I think I described it as the keg version on steroids, didn't I? I think that's about right. It's a good West Coast pale, that one.
That's cool. So, do you know Ryan, Dave?
Yes. Yeah. What you do is you tell all your mates, you send them the YouTube link, and then they'll turn up and like feed your ego. It's great.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's a good laugh. We've got, you know what you said.
In fairness to Ryan, actually, he's really getting into it now because he's all of a sudden got very into Unbarred. So I always find it really quite satisfying and exciting when people who express a bit of an interest, all of a sudden they have a couple of beers and they're like, oh, what else is there? And then they get into it. So,
yeah, I'm with you. it's nice, isn't it? It's nice when they see someone see. It's what we said in your podcast. Who you're appealing to. Well, for us, we want to appeal to the people that like beer, but we also want to appeal to that guy that's never had a craft beer. We want to have something in our range that they can pick up, and it takes them on that journey, like full as ESB did for me.
That's it. And the thing is, it's really weird, isn't it? Like, once you've had a really good craft beer, I don't know about, I presume probably the same, but then you just think, well, why did I know why I drank all that stuff at the time, because maybe go back a bit, it wasn't around as much, but why would you do it now so much? Like, it's there and it's so much better. It's, why do it to yourselves? Like, just...
Yeah, it is exactly that. The stuff I used to drink all the time. I mean, I grew up drinking Foster's.
Yeah.
And it's just now I'm just like, I don't even look at it now. And I don't, that's not me knocking Foster's. It's just, I know that I can get so much better in the same kind of style as well. It makes no sense for me to spend the money on that.
Yeah,
anymore.
that's it, isn't it? It's just, why? All right. It is cheap because it is what it is. And I get, and at its heart, Foster's isn't maybe that bad in its own way, but it's also not very good when you see what else you can do for not much more money. You just think, well, why would I ever have that again? Like,
yeah.
Do you all find yourself tutting at people who drink macro lagers? Because I do. If I see people buying a Foster's or
I haven't quite got there yet. I haven't quite become the complete beer snob yet. What you like?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, what you like, right? But when people ask, I will give them recommendations. I will say, look, if you like a Foster's, try that. You might.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell people what they should and shouldn't drink, but I will say you could try that. Yeah, it's better quality. You might like it. So it all comes to the taste.
I've got a funny story and a slight confession to make, which is I occasionally pop into our local bargain booze and pick up Pilsner Urquell is there, and it's just stellar. It's just an absolute belter of a beer, and I just like to go and pick it up in there because I know they've always got a stock of it. And I was in there the other day. This poor lady was buying some Pilsner, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know what to buy." And she picked up this Pilsner. I went, "You don't want that." And she goes, "Well, I've seen him drink that before." No, he doesn't want to drink that. What you want is this. And I gave her Pilsner Urquell. I said, "That's the original Pilsner. That's the proper stuff that everybody else copies, including myself. You want that beer." And she took it away. Anyway, I went in some time later, and the guy behind the bar, behind the counter, says to me, he says, "You couldn't do me a favour. You know a bit about beer, don't you? Could you just give me a few pointers? Because that lady came back and said, absolutely got that Pilsner." And I thought, yes, I've got somebody on a journey.
That's the most exciting thing now. Like you say, put someone on a journey, and then if they sort of go, and then you lead them as much as they want to be led, and then all of a sudden they might send you a picture or something. They go, "Oh, I'm trying this. What do you think?" And you're like, "Oh, I reckon you might quite like that." And or if you do, try this, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's just bringing people in. Like, I find that as exciting as I do finding a beer myself now. Almost, like, it's great to get someone else that's going to drink outside a macro, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, there's this whole other world of beer. Like, yeah, sign me up for all this now. Why was I sort of buying the macro stuff?
It's true. I was going to quickly go back to a comment. So Shark Homebrewing, he's over in California. So there's somebody in California watching us four nuggets on a Wednesday night. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, it's absolutely amazing and very flattering as well. Shark, I think the first time we saw Shark was on your channel, wasn't it, Paul?
Kevin, yeah, he pops up every Saturday, which is great. Yeah, he's always chatting. He brews his own beer, so that's another one on his bow. But yeah, no, top guy. Top guy.
This is the thing where we were saying about earlier with when it comes out of the pandemic and you go back to the pub. Of course, we all want to do that because we can get back and go and see our friends locally and stuff. But I guess hopefully now this kind of thing has its place because, you know, as you say, Kevin's not going to be around to do that, but you'll still be able to have the Saturday afternoon where he can join you from California and stuff. So,
yeah.
Made the world a much smaller place in that respect, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. It's incredible. We get people watching from all over the place. It's madness. You get greetings from. There's a guy from Belgium who always tunes in. We get people from Germany tuning in. You know, people from America, Canada. It's
mad, isn't it? It's brilliant, but it's so mad.
Yeah.
We were looking at some of our stats the other day, and I think we got listeners in 26 different countries now. You know. From China, India.
There's like one in the Philippines or something. You sort of think, who's listening to this in the Philippines? Like,
wow,
someone is.
Back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, no worries, though. Yeah, he's fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it. And what's really nice is Kevin has agreed to pay for mine and Paul's flights over to California so we can have something.
Yeah, that's how nice he is.
Yeah, and he said he'd put us up for a week as well and get us a hire car. I was like, mate, that's amazing.
We could drink all his beer.
If there's room in his house and room in the hire car, we'll come as well. We wouldn't want to disappoint him.
There we go.
I'm sure it'd be fine. I'm sure Kevin could stretch to a couple more flights. It's fine. So Adrian Wooley, he's my man from Food Tribe and Drive Tribe. He posts up all the time, and he's one of the Food Tribe clans members. So he's a legend. Yeah, Simo, I want to try this. I really want to go to Prague and have Paul. This is a video that we need to make.
Anytime I ever talk about Pilsner Urquell and how much I like it, everyone's like, "Oh, you need to go to Prague. You haven't had it until you've been to Prague." And I feel like a complete idiot for saying I like it now, because I should go to Prague before I dare speak about it. You know, everyone keeps telling me, "Go to Prague and try Pilsner Urquell." I can imagine it's incredible.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's on our list. Oh, what's he got there? Roy. She's a beauty. That's one ugly beer.
Good beer
in real life. You like it, don't you? You really like that one.
I love this beer. And you know, I didn't appreciate it first time round, but the feel of the can is incredible. So
the matte finish on the cans.
The texture. Oh, Dave, you're frozen. Has he frozen on your screen, Paul?
Yes.
Got that
It moved.
Mottled effect.
But we're struggling with Dave here.
We're struggling with Dave. Your internet's gone all wonky. I thought it was just me. I'm absolutely busting for a wee at this. Oh no! Oh no!
Get a refresh.
I'm back. I'm back.
You're back. There's something going on the internet. Everybody's on the internet. It's no surprise we're having problems.
I think the issue is we've got too many viewers and they're causing us all to slow down. That is what the problem is.
That's what it is.
So, God, what were you saying about Roy earlier? Sorry.
I was just saying the feel of the can is incredible. I love this can. It's got a sort of slightly mottled effect to it, hasn't it? It's not smooth. It's different to many other cans. I'm not imagining that, am I? That is true.
No, you're not. So we asked for the varnish to be textured because we did a little survey, and for some reason, people associate texture with quality. So that's literally why we did it. We added that mottled effect. So yeah, I really like it, but not everybody does. So
when I got the first subscription box a few weeks ago, and I took the cans out of the box, and I sort of was handling a few cans at the same time, I noticed then, they just feel all different to all the other cans, and it really stands out. Yeah, it's a good idea. Really good.
So
Yeah.
Derry
I see
here.
we've got a comment there. Look. Funny drinking stories. Yeah.
No, I've never
I'm sure
done
we've all
anything
got plenty of those.
ever.
I'm trying to think of one that I can tell. Funny drinking story.
The funniest one I've got, I'm going to let my wife put it into the chat. She'll come up with it in a minute.
You're brave.
Just
God.
I know what it's going to be. Just wait, she'll come up with it.
I'd say a funny one was one Christmas. I was at a friend's house, and we go to church, and his parents are elders, and they're lovely people. And I was at their house, and we were playing poker. We were just like playing poker. His mum and dad were the other room with some of the other people. There were about probably 40 of us in the house, and we were all playing quietly, drinking whiskey, having beers, playing poker. We were all quite quiet as we were playing it. And at the end of the night, I got up, and he was like, I was done. I was absolutely done. And I thought I was fine because I'd just been sat there playing, not really talking. I thought I was fine. And then his mum came and said, "You right, John? Have you had a nice time?" And I went, "I'm fine." My arms were talking way after my mouth, and I was staggering about. I couldn't get my shoes on. I was mortified. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. And they were so gracious. They thought it was so funny, and I wasn't the only one, so it was fine. It was absolutely fine. But yeah, that was kind of funny. I was embarrassed that I'd let myself go like that.
I find you can be drinking and you feel absolutely fine, but the minute you get outside and the fresh air hits you, game over. Every time.
Yeah, I've been there.
Paul's not letting on anything. I'll tell you another funny one. Years and years ago, this when I was younger, there was a bowling club in Peacehaven that we used to go drinking in. And I was definitely not of the right age to be drinking. And one night we left. I don't remember leaving. And I remember just being like it's a long walk from where that is to my house. And I remember trying to get warm in this like cold place. And I was like, man, I'm freezing. Anyway, when I woke up in the morning, I must have gone into someone's garden and gone into their kids' Wendy house in the back garden and got into their Wendy house and tried to go to sleep in the Wendy house. And when I got up, they were all sat in the kitchen having breakfast.
Did you knock on the window and ask for a bit of
Oh man, I just like went out of this Wendy house and they were just like this. And I just walked past and I was like, and I just went. And I remember I was so hungover and I like literally was running and stumbling and falling. Oh man, it was so bad. Yeah, so there you go. There's a silly story for you there. Dave's got a question for you. I need the loot, so I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, I'll just come back from getting snowed on going to the garage.
It's snowing in your neck of the woods, is it?
Yes, it's been fairly strong for the last few days. But
It's been freezing down here, but we've had flurries the last couple of days and it hasn't really settled. Today was a really nice day, so it all melted, but it's freezing out there at the moment. So I reckon it'll be rather frosty and rather icy tomorrow morning. So
you got -3 here at the moment. It feels cold.
Good luck, innit?
Yeah, Dave, we're talking about funny drinking stories. You must have some.
Yeah, probably do. Well, no, I do. How long you got, really? Wow.
Careful.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. Well, years ago, I did a football tournament, and that was up in Leeds. And certain people, I think he's still possibly watching this, but I do have the nickname of Cannelloni for having cannelloni for dinner, and then people seeing it again a bit later on from drinking. So that was a bit unfortunate. But it's so bad when you get put on the spot with something like that. You can think of all the great nights you've had out, and then you can't really sort of put it down into sort of any bits and bobs. Hopster's Beer Festival in Ipswich was a really great day. That was quite funny because we were in there all afternoon, and I got completely fresh air sniped when we went out. And I remember having a Chinese, which I don't really remember having, and having to have a little lay down. I probably should have heard your guys as well, and that would have given me something to bounce off, actually.
Last summer, we were in Whitby for a few days, and there's a little bottle shop there called the Green Dragon, and they've also got a little bar there as well. And I was there with my wife and kids, and so they were going off to do a few bits. And I said, "Oh, I'll just go in the Green Dragon and have a couple of beers. Come and pick me up a bit later." And it started off fine. They've got about 5 or 6 taps in there, and I had a couple of beers. Then they started saying, "Oh, we've got this whiskey we've been selling recently. Do you want to try some?" And this whiskey was 50%, and I was, "Oh yeah, all right, I'll have a little bit." So they gave me one, and oh yeah, this is nice. Port Charlotte, I think it was called. And they gave me a couple more. Then I carried on with the beers again, and they gave me another whiskey, and I carried on with the beers. And by the time my wife came to pick me up, I was sort of shrieking across the bar and shouting, and all because they'd given me these free whiskies. I didn't even ask for them, but they just kept plying me with the whiskey. Fantastic. Well, I say fantastic. When I got home, there was a Chinese involved, and I woke up and I thought it was the next morning, but it was still 6 o'clock in the evening. Absolute carnage. I blame the whiskey. I'm not used to drinking whiskey.
Yeah, always blame the whiskey.
Terrible sins.
Yeah. I've had some bad the whiskey. I've still got a bottle there that I can't bring myself to open, just because I'm terrified of the whiskey.
If you've had
Paul, come on! You never told us any of your stories.
I've had too many, and none of them
he's
really
keeping very quiet though. He's keeping very quiet.
The one I can say to get a laugh, but it's still pretty shocking. I managed to punch my mate's mum in the mouth in the pub one night. So we'd been sit down on sofas having a few. It was my round. I was legless, but didn't realise until I stood up. And when you had a few, you have no sort of concept of distance and range, things like that. And I'll sort of turn around. I'm asking what everyone wanted, and as I've done so, I've got to pull my sleeve up on my jumper, and I've just gone bosh, hit someone straight in the face. Someone's obviously walking to get out of the pub. I've turned around. I've managed to sock my mate Matt, his mum straight in the nose. Her legs went like a baby giraffe. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't very good. So, luckily, she was all right, and I explained what happened, and everyone made sure she was okay. But that was one of them moments where you want the earth to kind of open up and swallow you whole. It was one of them. And that was strictly down to the beer. I was gutted about that for a long time, but everything was okay in the end. So should have told that one really, but there you go.
So Lisa, what's all this about the train journey? What's this all about?
If you're lucky, you might get to see Lisa in a minute. I think the way he's leaning towards the.
She's just come into the room actually. Yeah, were you asking me about the train journey?
Yeah, the Raksu one apparently.
Oh man, I don't know if you know who Raksu are, but Raksu won X Factor a few years ago, and we'd been to a beer festival in Coventry, and absolutely fine, no problem. Had quite a lot of beers. and felt fine. Then got outside and the fresh air hit me. And by the time we got back to the railway station, it had really hit me. We'd been in a taxi and been in the fresh air. And then we got on the train and there was these group of lads who looked just like Raksu, who'd won the X Factor fairly recently. My wife's here now. She says they didn't look like Raksu. I think they did. And I was giving them all this. Oh, look, it's Raksu. It's Raksu. Can I have your autograph? Give us your autograph. And it wasn't them. And apparently it looked nothing like them. You had to be there, really. But I'm told it was quite embarrassing.
But then you fell asleep on the lady's lap as well.
Oh, and then I fell asleep on somebody's lap shortly afterwards, apparently, as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
And that wasn't even whiskey. That was just beer.
Oh, well, Derry literally put a question up that made 4 guys look so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, where do I start? I could tell some right stories. That I gave my most least sort of incriminating ones. Yeah, pretty bad. Yes.
I felt up someone in the pub who I thought was my other half, and it wasn't. That was. I wasn't even that drunk, which was bad.
That is the best one so far.
Just casually went to the bar. This was in the Arcade Tavern in Ipswich. Went in there, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I just thought she was stood at the bar. Gave her ass a nice squeeze. This woman turned around and was like, oh my God, that's not you. That's not you at all. Really, it sort of went very British very quickly and very apologetic. She didn't slap me or anything. She was very all right about it, but that wasn't good.
I can do something that's a little more, far worse, mortifying. So, do you remember Tradex used to be a thing? Tradex was like a wholesaler come jumble sale. And we were walking, there was one in Huddersfield, and we were walking around there, and I lost track of where my missus was. So I spotted her, and I thought, I'll be silly. And I ran down, I sort of crept up and then ran and proper, like from up here, cracked on the side, right? Not her. And then this dude, I kid you not, was like a man mountain, was at the end of the aisle. It was his business. She looked she was slightly in pain and absolutely furious, and was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, oh my gosh, you're not my missus. I'm so sorry, like that. And then he just was doubled over laughing. It was tears coming out of his eyes. I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, get away from me. Like, she did not take it well at all. She's like, if that's what you do to your missus, that's terrible. And he's just crying. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. And then my missus was watching me from the other end of the aisle. She's dying of laughing as well. It was, and I hadn't had any beer, so I've got no excuse for it. That was the worst bit. Yeah. So your missus are all.
I love this comment.
Yeah, Dave, you're
gerbil cage.
Fantastic. It's quite enjoyable.
Smashed into the host children's gerbil cage, which was the. Wait, was this one of you two?
It's not me.
No, this isn't me. This is another Dave. This is a Dave who listens to our podcast. Thankfully, that isn't me.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was you.
That's the other Dave. No, that isn't me, that one. Although, equally, it is something I could quite easily have done.
Oh, man. He was there an hour. He was in the Green Dragon 1 hour.
That was the whiskey story in the Green Dragon, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Tom Stocks, he, or is that he? Like more emphasis on the E than the her.
Who's this he, Gazer?
I don't know.
Hey.
I've heard of Armageddon.
Hey, second time
No,
around.
that's what you meant.
Yeah. Derry has got some right stories. So she asked you that, but she has many herself. I once got so drunk I went around stealing people's chairs from their camps. We woke up with about 30 chairs and some very angry neighbours.
I like that. That is good.
There's also when we've gone on our beer festivals and ended up with road cones, street signs. I've got a picture of Derry wearing a shark mask, and a pair of goggles with a banana in her pocket. So just put that out there.
It's weird to think we'll be able to do stuff like that again at some point.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Strange, isn't it? Do you know, I really struggled, not this week, but the week before. I was going stir crazy. And the kids were going stir crazy.
Oh, yeah, I'm in that at the moment. Stuff like this really helps, actually. For all that it's really good fun and it's, good for the podcast and whatnot. It is stuff to look forward to.
But you're also actually talking to real people, which, you can literally go for days at the moment without talking to real people. If you don't, if you don't go to the supermarket or you don't go to the shop or whatever, you're in your house and you're not talking to, you're just talking to the people in your house. Maybe the person who delivers your beer at your door, but that's about it.
I like how that's the next person it might be that you can talk to.
And my wife, my kids, and the guy that delivers
the beer.
We call him George.
The guy from APC.
Yeah.
So, Paul, you look like. Is the football on tonight, by the way?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. Because I could tell. Because he's like, when the football's on, Paul's like this.
Who do you support, Paul?
Tottenham.
Ah, okay. Oh, right, yeah.
We're involved in a hell of a game at the moment.
Is it good? Oh, yeah, I've not.
Yeah, there's a hell of a game going on. As ever, we're on the wrong end of it, but it's time to go. I'm turning it off. I'm distracted. I'll turn it off.
No, it's all right. You can leave it on. I don't mind, mate. I don't mind. I know our friendship. Football is like football and then us. To be fair on Paul, I literally sent him a message like, dude, bail me out. My internet is dying. So, yeah. So, Egan wants to know, do you guys have a YouTube channel?
A channel?
A channel.
If that's to us, no, we don't. This might be something we need to explore.
It may be one for the future.
I think you just do it as an add-on. Tom Stock says, long day, lol. 4-3, come on the Toffees.
Oh, it is a good game.
I don't think that's what you want to see, is it, Paul?
Not really. Simo's a City. He's a Manchester fan. He doesn't know what real football is, so we don't have to do it.
Savagery. Yeah, Negan's joining in. That's what I'm saying. And then
he's allowed. He's an Everton fan. He's allowed. Yeah.
Is he? Well,
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I don't understand football. Why is one allowed and one not allowed, and why is one? I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense.
You might see some real football. Just wait until Saturday. Paul. You might see some real football.
Spurs are playing City at the weekend, so yeah.
Oh, who do I side with? So my little boy Micah loves City. He thinks they're the bee's knees. And Simo sent him a T-shirt. And Paul likes Spurs. So when they play FIFA on the Xbox, the boys, it's always Man City and Tottenham Hotspurs every time. That's what they're playing. So, yeah. So, it's been a very nice evening. I've really enjoyed it. We've managed to 17 people for over an hour, over 2 hours now.
Not bad going, is it?
That time has flown by as well, hasn't it?
I know. I panicked for the first hour.
Oh, we've got a steady flow of people here. The regular crowd. We got the regular crowd here. We got Newton.
Here's a question for you then, John. Where do you see your brewery, say, in 12 months' time? How would you like it to be panning out for you?
12 months' time. I'd like to retain some of the direct to customer sales that we do. And I would like us to be 12 months from now, I'd like to be exporting, and I would also like to be looking at new premises.
Mm.
That's the idea. So
a new premises for what reason? Just a bigger place.
Yeah, a bigger site, something that's a bit newer. There's talks of our investors are looking at maybe building us something. So
Wow.
Oh, right.
that might be an option.
Would that be more sort of central, nearer to
Yeah,
the town?
nearer to town, or maybe nearer to motorway links or nice areas, or
Right.
who knows? It depends on where's available, really. Something probably similar to the Magic Rock brewery tap, something like that. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? It could go any way at this point.
So your tap room when it was open, what days was it open then?
So we'd only open it on the last weekend of the month.
Really?
Okay.
Do you think once things go back, will you try and expand that?
Well, the problem we had was we actually looked, and David Wilson put, it'd be great to see Lords in the supermarkets. I would like to do supermarket, but I think it would probably be, we'd probably look at something like Waitrose, Marks and Spencer, or Booths, or something like that initially, or Ocado. I don't think we're ready for Tesco or Asda just yet, and I don't want to kill our brand off by
Booths would seem quite a natural fit for you guys, actually.
Booths.
Booths, yeah.
I think Booths. Yeah, the only thing that scares me is they're just in so much debt. Just frightens the life out of me. I think to myself, if I supply them and they go bump, I'm done. James Hickley. Evening, everyone.
Evening, James.
So yeah, I think it's like Derry put, nearer to a railway station, so we can make more memorable train journeys. That's really probably one of the big things for us. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're like nowhere.
So you're almost a destination place. People have got to drive out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Or get taxis
Here's a good question for you. My wife's always saying this because she drives me to tap rooms all over the place, and she's really big on soft drinks, decent soft drinks. She always says, if you're going to have people in the tap room who aren't drinking, they need to have decent soft drinks, not just your Coke and your whatever, but really nice soft drinks for them as well. I think that's an area that a lot of tap rooms overlook. They don't think about that. The people who aren't drinking.
I've got to admit, we are pretty slack with that. We did do a thing where you pay £1 for a mug, and you could have as much decaf or caffeinated coffee as you could sink.
Okay.
And that was just another thing, but it was very, with all the other stuff, when it got really busy, it was almost impossible to keep up.
Yeah,
with.
it's harder to brew a coffee, isn't it? Almost than crack something out of the fridge.
Yeah.
But I think going forwards, that has to be something that's incorporated now, and certainly with uni students in Huddersfield, a lot of them are drinking lower ABV or soft drinks as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's definitely something that we need to consider more.
Lord's Table beer.
Yeah, well, we could do it. We've experimented with said idea. So it's not an impossibility. We're not bad at doing low ABV beers with some interesting stuff. Simo says booths are amazing. Yeah, they're on their arse at the moment. There you go. I've got a funny story about booths, right? So me and my friends went to the Lake District, and I was driving. I was absolutely busting for the loo. And I think we were in Kendal, and we went into the car park. I was like, supermarket, that'll have a toilet. Anyway, we parked in the car park. It was like underneath the supermarket. So we went in the lift, went up, and my mate, as the doors opened, just grabbed me around the waist. And you know when you're busting, that's like the worst thing anybody could do. And I just go, I make this awful noise. But where the lift comes out is like the tills, where everybody's packing all in a big line like this. And literally,
it's very quiet in a booths as well. Funnily enough, the booths you're talking about is exactly the booths I know, because it's the only one I've ever been into, the one in Kendal on holiday.
Yeah.
I think I've been in that one as well.
There you go. And literally, it's so posh they don't play music. You know what I mean? And I literally,
it's just dead quiet, isn't it?
And my mate, Kangwa, who's from Africa. Like in Kendal, you don't see that. So Kangwa grabs me. I'm like, and my brother-in-law is dressed with a cowboy hat and a football shirt on. And my brother-in-law's got an American football top on. We look like a right bunch of lunatics. And literally the whole place went silent, and people were like half packing their bags, like, "What's going on?" And I panicked, and I was like, I could see the signs for the toilet, but they're the opposite side of where the tills are, and you go down some stairs on the other side. So anyway, I panicked, and I sort of shuffled because I didn't want to wet myself, and I let the biggest ripper out that I've ever done, and this woman literally that I went past, that is filthy. I was absolutely mortified. And I remember I went for a wee, and I was at the urinal, and I had my head on the wall because I was hysterical with laughter. I just was so embarrassed that this had happened. And I couldn't even bring myself to go around the supermarket after. I just didn't want to. I was like, I'll go and sit in the car, lads. I'll go and sit in the car. Oh man, it was so bad. Really embarrassing moment. Very funny though.
Like when you go in the out of town local and everyone just goes, and I looks at you.
Yeah. Oh man. So I've got a house in a village called Marsden that I'm selling, and that's where they film. What's it called now? Are you local? You know the one where it's like,
Royston Vasey, League of Gentlemen.
That village where they film it is where I have a house, right? And I work with a guy called Ish, very good friend of mine, Indian Muslim guy, absolute legend. And I said, come to Marsden, there's this great brewery tap. I'll take you in. He's like, no, I probably shouldn't really go. I was like, mate, it's fine. It'll be fine. They're totally cool. You know, they're really legit people. You'll have no problems. We'll go to that pub. So we went in, and I kid you not, the pub was packed. Friday night, opened the doors, and it went silent. I've never been so. I was disappointed, angry, and I was like, no, I'm not. Ish was like, look, we should go. I was like, no, we're flipping not going. We're having a beer, and that's it. And we stayed in, and actually they were fine, but they were horrified. They were like, "You brought an Asian person into our pub." I was like, honestly, I was appalled. So yeah, I've got some funny stories like that. But I've also been, I got punched in a pub because I didn't order a shandy because I'm Southern. Yeah, that happened to me as well. Yeah, I've had all sorts. That's Yorkshire for you. But no, the people up here are lovely. It was a long time ago. So Dave is gone. I've got a question. I've actually got a question for both of you. So you've asked me, where do we see ourselves in a year? You guys obviously started this in lockdown. Where do you guys see yourselves in 12 months from now?
Well, the thing we talked about right at the start when we weren't trying to plug, but now we can because I've had a couple more and I feel more confident to do it, is from the next episode coming out Monday, we've got a sponsor, realale.com down in London. Or sorry, Real Ale, their website's realale.com. They're sponsoring us and we're doing a feature every month called Drink Along With Us. And it's going to be 2 or 3 beers each time, which you can buy from them at a discount, and we'll go through them. But the idea is we're not going to review it too heavily. We want everyone to talk to us about what they think the beers are like and how they find them, and they can give us an idea on, like, if they go, oh, I'd really like to try a beer like this or a style like this, and then work with that and try and build a bit more of an audience that way and the interaction. So that's something we're really keen to develop. And hopefully once the world get back to normal, it'd be really great to do some sort of podcast recordings live or some sort of OBs almost, go to places, Lord's Beer Tap, for example, other beer taps, go to these sorts of places and do a live show, which would be live at the time, but then we can record it and away we go. And just sort of, just to grow and grow, I guess. I mean, after tonight, maybe YouTube's something else we need to have a think about, and if people are interested in that. But that's sort of the main thing. I think we feel like we can keep getting bigger and bigger, hopefully, and get more and more people listening to us as long as they enjoy it and stuff. But they'd sort of be the main areas at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Dave, you were off getting a beer. So the question that you asked us, which was, where do you see yourselves in 12 months from?
I've done the plugging, by the way.
Oh, I don't need to do that then. Oh, that's good.
No, I've done that. I've done that bit.
Just to get more confidence in what we do with reviewing beers, and just to get more people listening to us, and to get more people on the craft journey as well. Get people away from that horrible macro stuff and enjoying there's so much variety out there. I've just been to the beer fridge, and just in my little fridge over there, I've got so much in there, and there's so many different beers people can try. And I think most people don't even know that. They don't even not even aware of the whole craft scene. We're here in our small bubble. We know all about it, but most people don't. And to try and sort of spread the word so people do find out about it and enjoy all these great beers that we have, that would be the aim, just to get more and more people involved.
That's awesome. I think that's a good enough reason. What about Paul? Paul's beer reviews. Where do you see yourself in 12 months from now?
On a beach in Barbados. We're a cocktail man. I don't know. A few more subscribers, a few more beers to me list checked off. Hopefully be able to this time next year say I've been to a few tap rooms and bars that I really fancy getting to. I don't know. We've got a lot of plan. Me and the wife, we're able to buy a house this year, so that's kind of going to be the main focus for us this year. But in terms of the channel, a few more subscribers and a few more stories to look back on, some good content. So we'll see. I've got a lot of plans, but everything kind of hinges on, what happens in society. Really, we'll see. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's a valid point. I never thought that we'd be in. Well, it's nothing like I've ever seen before. That's happened now, and that's the thing. How do you plan? James Hickley, I've held your question up there for ages because I've got something to announce.
Oh, there you go.
So we've got some new beers coming out. The next beer that is coming out that is going to be brewed very soon is going to be an American Pale Ale, and it's called Ban 1, which is the registration plate from Smoking the Bandits Trans Am, which we know everybody's going to get wrong and called Benoni. And we thought we might even put the L in between the ban and the 1, and it'd be baloney. So that's a beer that's coming out soon, and we're going to do them every quarter. We're going to do 3 or 4 beers. So the first one is coming very soon. So I just thought I'd let you know. And I'm working on actually finding the car. I'm going to go and find the car. I love cars, so I'm going to go and find. I know somebody actually has the exact replica of the car from the film in the UK. The number 1 car looks just like it. I'm just seeing if I can get access to the car to go around it and have a look at the car and talk about it. So we could do a talk of the car and the beer at the same time. That's the idea. So there you go.
Big plan.
All right, beer is needed.
Oh, my beer.
Would that be a thing? Could you do? I think some
Marmite beer.
Is that the Marmite or a Marmite as in who some love, some hate?
No, he means actual
Marmite, an actual Marmite beer.
He loves Marmite. Adrian Wooley loves Marmite.
Please no.
You get some pretty yeasty beers that kick off a bit of Marmite, don't you? Sometimes, but I don't know about.
Yeah, I'd imagine you can get the nose easier than you can the flavour almost.
Yeah,
it's definitely true. If that's one thing I really struggle with Ipas and some of the really cloudy beers. I can't deal with that yeastiness that gives off that Marmite smell. It just unbearable. I can't stand it. Unlikely from us. Somebody actually asked a question earlier about what was it about now? Hey, who's that? Oh, hang on. Here's one: Marmite and peanut butter beer. I don't know.
That would be a very strange one to put together.
Well, you say that. They did one, didn't they? They did one recently, peanut butter with Marmite in.
Peanut.
Oh, really?
They did a peanut. Northern Monk did a peanut butter jelly one, didn't they? That was
peanut butter jelly. Yeah, that's I can get that, but I don't know how you pair that with.
I really enjoyed that one, the Stars and Stripes from Northern Monk.
I like that. It's got a lot of stick in a lot of places, but I thought it was quite good.
They did another one before, which was a patrons one, which was better than the Stars and Striped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the other one, for me, it got that peanut butter jelly bit where it stuck at the back of your teeth somehow, even though it wasn't. It was going down the same. I was like, how do you do that? And the peanut butter jelly one, I liked, but it didn't do quite that, so I didn't like it as much, but.
Well, I think a lot of breweries have really failed with the peanut butter beer. I think the Northern Monk Stars and Stripes for me is the only one I've had so far where I really thought they nailed it. I thought it was nice. It was the mouthfeel was really good on it as well. It's a good beer for me, that one.
I had a peanut butter stout, and it was from I bought it in the Trembling House of Madness in York.
Ah, yes. Love the Trembling House of Madness. Brilliant.
Yeah, and
the
that,
original one where it's really crazy upstairs.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that peanut butter stout tasted just exactly. It was an American beer. I'm sure it was.
Was it Belching Beaver?
Yes. And I was like, that's on the money.
Yeah, spot on that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But you can tell they must have spent absolutely ages developing that. Are you right, Paul? You look very tense.
I've
Extra
turned
time.
I've turned it off. I just
Is it one? I can tell you.
there's too much going on in the game for me to do that and this at the same time, so I've turned it off.
Oh, please! You don't have to.
Spurs
dedication.
for me, so I'll give it up on them for tonight.
Oh, well, thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. So this would be a really good question for you guys. Which of, I'm assuming he means my beers, would you first push for supermarket? Now, you guys have all had our beers. Which one would you Which one would you push for supermarket?
Roy.
Bandon car.
I think Drunken Taylor's the one that would sell the most.
That's probably, yeah.
So
that's
basically
probably
all of it.
Yeah,
that's a good reaction where you get three different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll go with
Drunken Taylor's probably makes the most sense actually in terms of if you're going to get people to pick it up. A Pilsner is a really good shout.
Yeah. The Bandon card is a beautiful porter, but is for a supermarket.
Yeah, it's a bit, isn't it? It's that dryness, isn't it?
Yeah, unless it's got Guinness written on it, I don't think people look at beers in supermarkets much today. So, I mean, hopefully that will change.
You got to think, when normal people are in supermarkets and they're going down the beer aisle and they've got all the names they're familiar with, how are you going to get them to pick up a craft beer instead of the names that they've known for 30, 40 years? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really difficult thing to do.
It's a mind warp, isn't it? You kind of think, how are we going to put yourselves on a par with guys like that? It's yeah. I don't know how you do it personally, without sounding defeatist. But how do you do that?
Is that? I mean, yeah. Go on. I don't know.
The experts of that are obviously vocation because they've done it, haven't they? They've got their beers into the supermarket. They've got their core range in the supermarkets, and then they're producing other great beers as well.
Yeah,
there you are. Yeah, there's one of them. Yeah, exactly.
You can't knock them. They're a fun.
No, not at all.
They're
little bit.
A little.
Dave's a bit more into vocation than I am. I'm a bit.
Do you know though? Right. Okay. McDonald's. If you have a McDonald's burger, is it the best burger you've ever had?
Hell no.
Right.
But you will keep going back for it. That's the key, isn't it? You'll keep.
Yeah. Do you ever think, I could murder a McDonald's?
I had one the other day. I had one on Monday afternoon, and it was all right. It wasn't brilliant, but it was all right. But I'd go back for another one. And beer is a bit like that, isn't it? You're right. Yeah, it's a good comparison.
It's that convenience, isn't it? You know it's there. Yeah. You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get. It's always the same. Yeah.
I love the fact that Dave B will not commit.
No,
I know exactly what he's thinking.
No, I've
got two issues with vocation. Love and hate the Dipper. When I first had it, I was like, oh my God, if they're going to put this in every supermarket, like a lot of brewers are in trouble because it's tremendous. And then quality control or just sheer volume of orders caught up with them, because I had a couple more and they just were completely off the charts of what they were before. And then the core range is fine, and I wouldn't put anyone off the core range. It's fine, but there's better beers out there. And then they've done a lot of barrel aged stuff, which everyone's got very excited about. I'm not convinced it's even seen the insides of a barrel for that long. It's super sweet. Like, I just think there's a lot of sugar chucked in there, and then we're going to say, yeah, it's barrel aged.
Yeah.
And there's too much of it coming out now as well. Like, if the amount they've got barrel aged, and I might well be wrong, so, for full disclaimer, for any legality reasons, I might be completely wrong, and if I am, so be it. But the way they've chucked all this stuff out, it's almost as if they've had all the barrel aging in for 2 years, and I just don't think they have. And stuff seems like it's being chucked out as if it's been in there 2 weeks, and that's barrel aged.
Yeah, they're knocking out one after the other at the moment, aren't they? Votations, like every couple of weeks.
Nobody says how long something has to be aged for. It can be aged for 2 days or 2 years, can't it?
Yeah.
And Dave's got a good. I'm a quite a big Vocation fan, because they're one of the breweries that got me into the craft scene in the first place from their supermarket beers. But some of those barrel aged ones, they're a bit iffy, in my opinion. They're sort of overly sweet and not much else. But then you get some. They've got their chocolate stout, naughty but nice, I think it's called. That is that's a fantastic beer. That is £3 in the supermarket, and that is brilliant. Far better than their barrel aged ones. Far better. Really good beer. Love that.
I had their Banoffee one, their new Banoffee one that came out the other week.
Everyone's very excited about that. What did you make of it?
It's really nice.
Is it?
You can only drink one.
Is it sweet? Is it super sweet?
It's pretty sweet. That it's really pronounced, the banana and the toffee. They've nailed the flavour, but my goodness, it's strong. If you don't like banana or toffee, don't go anywhere near it. They've nailed the flavour, but it's really rich, really rich.
You see, having had most of their previous barrel aged ones, and they were just too sweet, I avoided that one. Even though I like Banoffee, I still avoided it. Now you're making me think maybe I should get it.
It's delicious. It's a sipper, but it's very rich. It really is.
Should you drink it with a slice of Banoffee pie, do you think, or is that just too much?
Well, I think it'd go well with it. Actually, I think that adds a bit of extra texture to your palate. I think that'd be a good idea, actually.
I'll tell you the thing about Vocation. Sorry, Dave. Is the thing about Vocation for me is their core range in the supermarket is great. It's a good standard beer, but they're actually really lovely people as well, and that's the thing that got me. We played an April Fool's trick on them, and we turned up with our van and said that we made some beer and could they take it in, because obviously we couldn't leave it in the van. And they said, "Why have you made beer for us?" And I said, "Oh, you weren't at full capacity, so you needed some beer off us." Now we're 8 barrel, we're tiny. They're like 30, 40 or some outrageous amount of barrelage. I mean, their CO2 tank is 5 times the size of our brewing kit. You know, idea, right? And they're looking at me like, what the chuff? But I've got a really nice, fancy, brand new van. They're like, oh. So this guy goes, oh, all right. And I give him a spurious bit of paperwork, and off he runs. He goes off to the head office. And this other guy just stands there, and he's got his hand like that, and he went, are you having us on? Is this April Fool's? And I was like, yes, it is. You know what they did? They took us around the whole brewery. They showed us everything from the beginning all the way to the canning line. They literally gave us boxes and boxes of beer. They were like, that is awesome. And ever since then, I will always be a fan of Vocation, because I thought, you know what? You did right there. We've lost one of the Daves. Where's he gone?
Oh, it crashed apparently. That makes me feel bad now. Like, but But by the same token, I like that core range, like what you were talking about. I think it's a really good core range, and I think it's a really good one of give someone who doesn't do craft a couple of those, and then go, if you like this, you might also like, like Amazon or something like that. They're great for that, but I've got issues with some of their more not experimental, but the stuff they're doing, which is on the higher end.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Their core range is good. Sometimes I suppose you have to do something. You have to do something different. But
yeah,
I know what you mean about. It'd be nice if they had a little bit more about what they were actually doing with these barrel aged beers, and told you a little bit more information, because you kind of feel like they're just sort of making it up as they go along.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, you've got a really good dipper in the supermarket. Could you not try and do a different dipper? Yeah. And like release that and tell everyone what you're doing, rather than these sort of apparently barrel aged or these flavoured stouts where it's a bit okay, but yeah, what's the origin to this, rather than just chucking it out there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it, isn't it? I don't know. I like them. I like the fact that there's consistency. They're not a meta brewery. They're not massive.
No.
And they're real people. At the end of the day, it's the night. No, I'm not going to say it. Sorry, I always do that. I was like, at the end of the day, I hate the fact that I use that. I use the word basically. Flipping does my head in. Two words that I use, or two phrases I use that wind me up. I'm just going to try. I was going to answer the gin question. Derry asked me about the gin idea. So we're not looking to put a distillery in at the moment, because the gin market started to decline. But we have got Divine Gin, who we're really good friends with. We talked about doing a black beer gin with them. So that might be something that's coming out.
How's the rum market doing? Because everyone kept saying the rum was going to be the one after, and I kept waiting for this as a rum drinker, but
it just didn't really. It's not. It was coming, and then it kind of got killed off.
It's still coming. Okay, fair dude.
We'll be there. My local craft brewery have managed to get themselves into booths. Yeah, it seems to be. It just depends. There's two things that normally they want. They want Ciba and salsa. We've got Ciba. We haven't got salsa yet, but we're working on it. Hello, John. Sorry I'm late. Hey, beer and booze. No worries, man. Nice to have you. Simo, Beer Brothers Preston seem to have blown up in the last 18 months. Beer Brothers Preston. Have you guys heard of them?
New to me.
So, Preston, yeah, I'd love to try one of their beers. Simo, hook us up. Let's get them on. Let's get them on for a beer and a chat. They also do a handful of real ales too. What are you all drinking tonight? I'm currently on my Mount Helix West Coast Pale Ale, 6%. What are you boys on? Paul's not drunk anything because he's sick as a dog, because Spurs have lost miserably.
I'm now on a bit of Whiplash.
Oh, Whiplash. I like them. Good brewery.
Nice.
They're really good, aren't they? I've only come across them recently, but they're excellent. Not had the bad one yet. Have you opened the quad, Dave?
No, I didn't. I went to a garage, so I didn't open the quad. I've just finished off Ridgeside's Dipper True and True, which has got Sabro in it, which I don't like, and it had a lot of Sabro in it, but it was I got through it. So
that's such
you hated it, didn't you?
Hop,
I didn't hate it, but yeah, Sabro's so divisive, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I quite enjoy it. I'm on a Hollow Days hazelnut stout from Harbour.
I quite like Harbour. I think they're a little bit underrated.
Yeah, normally I quite like Harbour beers. I mean, this is meant to be a hazelnut stout. I'm not sure about hazelnut, but it smells like a squirrel farted in it. It's not great. It's not great, this one.
Oh,
not great.
It smelled like a squirrel farted in it.
That's the the nuts reference. That's called I could go with. It's very light, the hazelnut on this.
You would have thought that would have been a flavour that you could really bang out. Is hazelnut?
Yeah, I mean, I had the Omnipollo hazelnut pecan mud stout thing.
Noah.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. The one that went in Morrison's, absolutely stunning. That's how you do a hazelnut beer.
Yeah. Omnipollo are pretty good, but my gosh. So it was my mate's birthday, and I thought, I'll pick him up some beers for the local beer shop because he's just started to get into Weiss beers. I thought, we'll get him some weird and wonderful. Got him some beers, put it on the counter. I didn't realise I picked up an Omnipollo. £15.
15.
Comes with the price tag on Apollo, yeah.
I was like, must be having it away.
Even that Morrison's one was £8. I mean, that's the most expensive I've ever bought in a supermarket.
Do you think they're worth it, though? Yeah.
So I missed that.
David was saying, do you think it's worth it?
Yes. I've bought a few more since. When I first bought it, I kind of stood there looking at it for about 2-3 minutes, thinking, "Am I really about to spend £8 on a beer in a supermarket?" But then, as soon as I tried it, I was like, "Wow!" I've got 2 more on the shelf. I keep saying I'm going to save them for a special occasion, but that just could be a Tuesday afternoon. To be honest with you, it's that nice. It's a lovely beer.
So when you're like doing an order on a box or in a beer shop or something, where's your sort of cut off? It's really interesting to find out like where people feel that, like that's too much to pay for 1 can of beer or 1 bottle. Yeah.
Normally I'm a little bit uncomfortable paying more than about £5 for a beer, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. I really have to I have to really want that beer. If it's more than £5, it's got to be from a brewery that I trust. It's got to be a beer that I really fancy at the time. Like if the weather we got at the moment are really into stouts and porters and things. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, and I'm also a sucker for good artwork. If the artwork's really good on a can, that can sell me. I'm a bit fickle in that sense. Normally a fiver is generally my cut off, but I will sometimes go over it if I think it's worth it.
What about you, John?
I'm the wrong person to ask because, as Paul says, he's a flipping show off.
Show off, John.
I'm not bothered. I will. I've had loads of really ridiculously expensive stuff to try just out of the fact that you could. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm probably one of those. Yeah. I draw the line at £100 burger. Put it that way. There was a thing in London where it was £100 for a beef burger, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." There's some really great burgers out there. I ain't paying £100 for it. But I do. I had a shot of whiskey that was £600. So I'm happy to try really weird stuff and really expensive stuff. Don't get me wrong. I didn't pay that £600. Somebody else did. But no, I didn't pay for it. It was a client that paid for it. But when I used to do sort of stuff, we went to this place. It was a special whiskey place, and we had this shot of whiskey, and I was about to down it. He was like, "Oh, don't down that! That was £600." I was like, "What? Whoa!" Like, it immediately turned into the most precious thing I've ever held. But basically, the bottle looked like it'd been dug out of the ground, and the bottle was like 500 years old or something like that. And it was like, once you've drunk this, it is gone. So that's why it's so expensive. It's just completely irreplaceable. So yeah, it was pretty, and it was mega. It was really good whiskey. Don't know whether I paid £600 again, but yeah, if somebody's doing something and it's like, yeah, why not? I really want to work on. So Divine Gin is a company that we're friends with, and we were talking about doing £100 bottle of gin. So between the two of us, we developed like a really excessive package for that £100, and the process that gin goes through is just over the top. But we'll only ever make 100 bottles. So I understand it. I understand paying, like Omnipolo, if they can command that price and they put that effort, and I mean the fact that they could sell their beer in a supermarket for £8 is outrageous. Outrageous.
Yeah.
The thing I would say with them is I've never had, because they have actually done a lot of their stuff recently where they've done sort of the lower ABV stuff. They seem to have priced it right on bottle shop or beer websites. But when they say something is going to be XXX and X, and you've got to pay 15, like the Lassie Goes ones, the Bianca series, where it's like 15, 16 quid a can, you're like, 15, 16 pound for one can? Really? That's got to be like, tastes like all of these things that you say and more. And the other half got me one, I got one last Christmas in an advent calendar, and I thought I'd had a stroke because it tasted like all of that stuff. And it smelt like it in the kitchen because there was like the tiniest little bit of like on the rim of the glass, and it just hung around in the kitchen for 2 hours afterwards. And I was just like,
Wow.
It was alchemy. Like that was, I was like, okay, fair enough. Like you've done that. I've got no complaints for that money, but
Yeah,
I get it. I completely understand why you look at it and like, what, £14 for one beer? Well, I could have 3 or 4 probably pretty good beers for that. Why do I need to pay that for one?
yeah. That's what I was saying. If there's a brewery that you know normally hit the nail on the head, then you could kind of justify it. I mean, I've never paid that kind of money for a beer before, but it's the one I spoke of, the one that was available in Morrison's. I mean, you opened that and it smelled like you were sticking your nose in a jar of Nutella.
It's amazing. I've had Noah, and I think Noah's an amazing beer. When they said that Morrison's were getting it, I was like, that's so exciting. Like if people can, if they can add that to their weekly shop, or not their weekly shop, but if they go around, they're like £8, and then do it, then hopefully they get it and be like, oh my God, like beers can be done like this. And then you'd sort of think, like you say, you trust them. So then if they did something else and you saw it and you'd be like, oh, it's £10, but the other one was really good. So maybe I'll just treat myself and I'll have this one for a tenner. And that sort of...
What was good about that being on the supermarket shelves is there was plenty left because nobody wanted to spend the money. If that had been in the local bottle shop, that wouldn't have lasted a day. You know, people in there would have known. You know, £8 for an Omnipolo, that's not too bad. But going on the shelves at Morrison's, the whole crate was still there. So I was like, oh, very much. Once I had the first, I was like, I'll have 2 or 3 more of them. You know, but it's, I have to break down that wall. I have to know it's good before.
That's fair enough. Like you say, like it's easy to chuck it about, but 8, 10, 12, 14, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be good. Like I think that's sort of bringing it round a little bit, and I'm not slamming on Vocation because actually there's a lot of other breweries do it exactly the same. A lot of people do that now, where that £8-9 apparently is like what you pay for either a very good dipper, a tipper, or a big stout. But if it's crap, like it's very disappointing when you've put that money in and you're like, oh well, it was either all right, or it was below that, and it's like, well, yeah, that's a lot of money to be wasting on something not so good when I could have had 2 decent beers or 1 very good beer and 1 average beer. So,
what have you had any beers lately that you were really disappointed with after shelling out a bit on?
I'm just trying to think now. Dave, have you had any where you've been a bit? Actually, I say that you're a very positive reviewer, so probably not. I mean, Putty wasn't cheap relative to what the hype was.
dwell on the low points.
Putty wasn't cheap wherever you got it. It was going to be between £6 and £8, and for what they hyped it up to be, I'd say that was disappointing. Yeah. Without saying it was a bad beer, it was disappointing in that sense. There's nothing stands out where I've given someone sort of over a tenner and I've been like, oh, that was terrible. Like, why did I do that?
What about you, Dave D? Come on, you must have a beer that you just thought, oh my.
There's a fair few beers out there where you might pay £6, £7, £8, and then you have it and you think, oh, that wasn't really worth it. It was a £3 or £4 beer. There's quite a lot of beers that fall into that category, I think, without naming any names in particular, but there are quite a few. I was looking today at some various bottle shops today, and there was beers that are in that category, £7, £8, but that I've had, and you think, well, they're probably not really worth that. They're only worth £4 or £5 maybe. But that's just, again, it's a personal thing, and I'm not right or wrong. Everybody thinks different.
So here's a question for you. I charge for individual beers on our website £3.50. Is that too cheap?
Yes.
Really?
I couldn't believe the price of your box when you said how much it was. And then for the quality of the beers that came through with it, I was like, well, this is a bit of a joke. In terms of, like, I've got an absolute bargain here.
Well, that's good.
I think sometimes you can pitch things. I think you can pitch things too cheaply, and then people think, oh, it's only a mediocre product because it's not very expensive. Whereas if you make things more expensive, people automatically think it's better. But yours is good anyway. You could easily charge 30 quid. 30
I was going to say, if that box was 30 quid and it had turned up and I'd had it, I'd been like, yeah, no complaints. That is spot on.
Yeah.
What do you reckon,
not a problem.
So going on the quality of the beer, yeah, you'd be right to have it up a few quid. Like I say, Bandon Car Porter.
Yeah, it's worth a lot on its own, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, that's a £5 a can porter. The Mount Helix I had the other day, the new one, the 6%. I mean, that's easily a £4 or £5 £5 a can West Coast. The quality is there compared to some of the stuff you're getting in the supermarkets that you're paying, say, £3 a pop for. I think you're well entitled to charge a bit more than that, personally.
Maybe we should, because it was a conversation that we had. Was should we spend a little bit more money, or should we put the price up slightly? Just because, just to increase our margins a little bit because we're a little bit behind. But what you don't want to do, I want people who would go on our website, maybe this thing. I'm competing against those Carling boys. I want Carling guys to come in and go, you know what? It's 3 times as much money, but I kind of like these guys. I'd like to.
But it tastes 3 times better, yeah. It's like even though that log jam, like that is a weird beer. Like I still don't know if I like that or not because it was mental.
It is mental.
But that being in a box like that, I'd expect to pay a bit for that and then to decide whether I think that's weird as what's it or not. Like to just have that and be like, oh look, here's a porter, here's a pale, here's something which I don't know, has this been scraped off a tree? Like it's really odd, but it's really like interesting at the same time. Like that in itself is a bit. It's better than the box is worth almost.
Well, funny enough, we've got somebody that's kept that one of the bottles right from the beginning. That is I think they're gonna open it this weekend. Funnily enough, and do a review. So it's ever evolving. That's the weird thing. So That beer we've ended up we've kept a barrel or two, and we're going to release one in a year's time, and we're going to release another barrel in 2 years' time. See what it's like.
Oh, nice.
So, and they're only steel barrels, so it's not wood, it's not cut like wood or anything like that. But
it'd be interesting to see what happens to it, though.
It is like that stuff is just like the first time we tried it, I was like, that is foul. Like for me, I was like, that is the most disgusting beer I've ever had. But then as time went on, it got more fruity. There was a bit more like a bit of HP sauce kind of.
It's weird. It's got so many weird things going on with that beer. It's really interesting.
You want to put it under a microscope. When we put it in the lab and looked at it, there is so much going on in that beer. I was like, yeah. Mike, you know this stuff that's floating around in this beer that's all wiggling? Is that going to kill anybody? And he's like, no, none of that will kill anybody. Some of that will be really good for him. I was like, hey, all right, I feel fine now putting that out there, but it's teeming with bacteria. There's all sorts of wild yeasts in it. It could turn. It could turn in 6 months and be awful. It's just mental. And it goes against everything that we do. It is the absolute opposite. So, like, we do everything we do to keep anything dirty out. And that beer is like, you let everything in.
It's just riddled with it. But
yeah,
it works for it, though.
It does. It's like we get so many funny comments about that. Some people love it. Some people hate it. It's a bit of a challenge for like Paul's beer reviews. You drank one. It's rank, innit? I couldn't do it.
I did the first one. I had two over Christmas, and I had the first one, and I just got loads of shoe polish on the first one, and then the second one was a lot fruitier. I think the fruit came out on the other one. I don't know how much the beer would have changed in about 2 weeks of sitting in a cupboard, but it certainly felt fruitier the second one.
Yeah,
definitely.
James was saying that Simon was asking for me in the live feed. I was busy last night. I could not get on the interweb there. Simon Wood.
Oh, what does he make of it?
He's on the logjam, boys. He's already there. He's braver than all of us. So Simon's one of our top customers. He loves our beer, buys all sorts of stuff.
The thing it reminded me of not first time around, because it's the only time, but at first it was, do you know Yeasty Boys did that one that was smoked in peat? The triple, whatever it was, X something Saurus or something. It was like that. It was like TCP almost.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't. And then it was sort of weird. See, in my mind, going back to what we were saying earlier about what makes a great beer, I'm not saying that's a great beer because I don't think it's a great beer, but I think it's a really interesting beer because I can still remember tasting it and all the things that I thought about it. So that's...
It's a very odd one. It's a running joke. It's like, it's all of the... So we did it as a bit of a project in lockdown, and it was done to get people involved in Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as a media thing, because it doesn't cost anything to make, really. And it just got really out of hand. And we just went for it. And actually, it became this weird thing. Then we kept people updated with it. And so they saw the whole process from start to finish. They picked the hops. They picked, the grain that we used. We did the whole thing was all picked by the followers of our social media, and that's what happened. That was the end result.
So there's a lot for your followers.
They're all mental.
Yeah.
They're great. They're a great bunch. So we have got a project coming soon. Me and Trigger Mike have been chatting. Got some ideas. We're going to do another similar thing to Logjam, and who knows where that's going to go. That will definitely go into the box. Absolutely, definitely. So we'll see where that goes. What's Dave Wills put? I got a Victory V note off the Logjam. Weird, but interesting. What's Victory V note?
Victory, I think, American brewer, so it's V note by them, I think, but I don't think I've had it.
Or is it the sweet? Is that red packet sweet that you see? Victory. David Wilson, you need to clarify.
Elaborate what's going on there. Victory.
Yeah. So, what else we've got here?
I think your V note Victory with the sweet is probably right.
Oh, is that what it is? I've never had
I think you're right, yeah.
Never had it before. Simon's missed some live feeds. Long enough for the night. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Yeah, man. No worries.
Is there any of us left? Is it not just the four of us now?
We have 14 people still.
Really? Oh, bloody hell.
Dave, you keep... Hey, you're back. What's going on?
He's back.
I'm back.
Dave,
I think
we
for
lost
some
you.
reason,
I'm going for a 10-100.
for some reason, my kids are still awake, and I know they're streaming videos, and it's impacting on the Wi-Fi. That's what it is. They need to go to bed.
I'll be back in a minute. Back.
He's off. He's gone.
What's everybody drinking now, then?
Yeah, I'm still on the.
What you on?
Oh, I'm having my last can of Voodoo Ranger because I thought that'd be one to just polish off and then.
Who does Voodoo Ranger?
Well, New Belgium, who are American, but apparently it's been commissioned over here. So doing it over here is one sec. Oh, I know. Full Pure. That's who's doing it.
Full Pure. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still on the harbour. The harbour.
Virgin on macro.
Panda Eyes. That was the Harbour one. You were talking about Harbour earlier, and I was trying to think who their Panda Eyes one is. I think that's a really cracking beer because it's still in bottles, isn't it? But it's like $1.75 or something in the supermarket. And it's a cracking New England IPA.
Blimey, I don't think I've had that one.
Yeah, so that's the one that I always think of with them because it's really. I like Harbour. I think they're a really decent brewery.
Yeah, they're a bit underrated, aren't they? Really, Harbour. You know how easily obtainable their beers are. They are pretty good quality, to be fair. Oh, there you go.
I'm back. I've got some ultimate pub snacks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, man. And I've got myself a packet of these bad boys.
Oh, bacon fries. Nice.
That's living the dream, that is, boy.
Where do you get pickled cockles from in a tin?
Oh, listen to that.
That's pretty jealous of that.
You can get them in Home Bargains. Do you have Home Bargains down south?
We do have Home Bargains down south, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh. That and a beer. Whoa. Love it. Do you remember?
I don't know if you might say the same as I was going to say. I remember going into a pub when I was a kid, and they'd have the cockles on a bar in just like the free for all.
Yeah, or a guy would come round in the pub in his like a white fisherman's like coat,
smock.
Yeah, in a smock with a load of cockles and some vinegar in a little.
Oh no! What served to you?
Yeah, so they do the rounds in the pubs. So that's what I had growing up. Did you have that, Paul?
What's that?
Selling cockles in the pubs. Did you have a guy come round selling cockles? Maybe it's just a really by the seaside thing.
Must be. People trying to associate cockles and out in London, but London's not been London for a long time.
Me and Paul found. I watched a video about a pie and mash shop that does jellied eels, and me and Paul got like this little Google document of places we want to go, and I put it in the list. And is that far from you, Paul?
No.
Really? So it's an easy do thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, cut the tubes, but yeah, easy enough.
Oh man, we've got to do it. So I'm thinking, I'll go down to London. Me and Paul, we're going to have jellied eels and pie mash, gravy.
Bit of class. Need to have some more.
I've never had jellied eels. Am I missing out, or
Not really.
Oh, really? My dad used to eat it. My dad was proper loved London, grew up in London, and he loved jellied eels. But I was a kid, and I remember going to a pie mash shop in London with him, and he had jelly eels, and I had pie mash. And I remember him picking the bone out of the jellied eel. But I've got this vague kind of all I can remember is marble top tables with cast iron legs sat on benches. It's really strange. But I want to do it. It's just like I want to see if I can remember all those years if it's the same taste that I tasted when I was a kid.
Yeah, David Wilson's nailed it there. It's definitely more of an East End of London thing. It's what the West Ham fans do. It was traditional. Before the game, they go get jelly deals, pie and mash before the football. It's an East London thing.
Is it really?
I don't know why, but
what are you drinking now, Paul?
I'm still on that the Harbour Hazelnut Stout.
That's still the same one.
Still the one I'm struggling with it.
That can't be very good. That was
I feel like it's getting better as it's warming up.
Okay.
But it's really thin. I was hoping for a bit of a thicker one, a thicker warming stout. This isn't really doing it. So it's but I don't like throwing beer away unless it's disgusting.
No.
You know.
Yeah, you do grin and bear
I'm a bit like that. It only goes down the drain if it's terrible. That's rare. It just feels wrong to throw beer away somehow.
Yeah, as even John's Sunset Coca-Cola, I finished it.
Outrageous. Simon Wood said he had the same in North Yorkshire. Like, of all the places where I didn't think that would happen, cockles being brought in, but there you go. East End of London. Jellied eels goes with log jam and jellied eels. My idiot.
I'm not big on fish food in general, really. I like a nice bit of fish with some chips or something, but cockles and crab sticks and things like that. I'm not big on.
I'll take as much seafood as I can handle, which doesn't probably lend itself to beer, really.
It does.
Unless you're going for the really lighter stuff, I would say it cuts through it almost.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you have with your fish food, John, as a beer? I kind of think the lighter the better.
Mm.
He will go with anything. He will go with anything. If you're eating fish, that's a different thing. Then you want a light beer with fish. You're eating.
What about all your shellfish and all that though? Because I mean, I enjoy that more than I probably do a bit of fish sometimes.
Like mussels and all that.
Yeah, mussels are a pint of prawns. What's going with that?
A pint of prawns.
Never had a pint of prawns.
No.
Oh, is that a Southern thing? I never realised this was a Southern thing. You can, pint of prawns, shell on, and then as is, pint of prawns, and then you de-shell them while you're having a drink.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that.
I've never had that. I thought I was cultured, but I've never had a
Well,
pint.
I don't think that means you're not.
A pint of prawns. Come on, Dave D. Have you had a pint of prawns?
No, that's not made it as far north as me. That a pint of prawns. No. I mean, it sounds all right, but no, it's not a thing.
Oh, it's lovely.
Pint of prawns. I don't mind prawns. I'm not mad about them though.
Oh,
Listen,
anything like that. I love it.
We've got a little deli near to here, and they do a lovely prawn and crab sandwich. I send my kids down to get me one every now and then.
That's not a pint of prawns.
It's not quite the same thing, is it? But I enjoy it.
It makes you happy, mate.
No, I love fish.
Just
seafood, not so much. I love fish.
Oh, okay. So, right. So, nice bit of fish, yes.
Nice bit of fish, love it. You put a lot of
okay.
Yeah, just the seafood, the little things, not so much. I think it's the texture. I don't know. It just
I know. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think I like the seafood more than the fish sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the whole pint of prawns thing has blown my mind because I would sort of think pint of prawns and then say a nice porter. That would work so well because the prawns are really fresh and salty, and they don't taste of anything but sort of the sea. And then you have nice little porter to round it off, bit of malt. Job's a good one.
Yeah. So I mean, I like the pie and mash jobs. Yeah, a steak pie with some mash.
I've never done that.
Oh, that's what you want. A Fuller's ESB or a London Pride next to a plate of pie and mash. That's don't get much better.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Have you done the mash thing, Dave, or not?
I have, but not recently enough to want to. I need to do it again. Almost I didn't probably appreciate it when I did it. I'd like to go back and do it properly now because I know it can be done really well.
Well, that's what they said with that. And Adrian Wooley said it earlier. They don't call it gravy on the pie and the mash.
Liquor.
That's right.
Yeah.
The liquor. And there's a lot of effort that goes into that. Did you get the YouTube link, Paul, for the video about the guy making it?
What did you send that today?
No, it was on that document.
Oh no, I didn't. I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah, there's a video of the guy and the process, and I was like, that'd be awesome. I think that'd make a great video as well. If you and me went down, we saw the process and how he made it and all that kind of stuff, and then we tried it and had it, and maybe whacked a beer with it. I think that would be a mega video.
Yeah, oh, definitely. We just got to get out there. It's so we've kind of built these channels for ourselves almost during lockdown, and now you're kind of thinking, where do we go once doors open again? Because we want to get out there and do some kind of beery adventures,
That's it. That's the way to move forward, isn't it? If you can take the channel out there and do that, that's a whole nother thing of moving on from where you were, and that will get. The people that are in to start with will be interested to see where you go next. So
yeah. So it just seems like the next logical step, doesn't it? Expanding, barging out a bit,
That cockle went down the wrong way and he choked them.
Live on YouTube.
I don't know whether Simo is meant to say that, but he's shattered himself. So he's off to bed.
Bedtime for me, I'm shattered.
Yeah, no. Bless you, Simo. You guys have missed out.
Adrian said he liked the pint of prawns, though, so I think that's why he's saying you missed out.
Pint of prawns.
I've never heard of such a thing, but it sounds amazing. What's a good fruity IPA that you can session, lads? Oh, there's a question.
Good fruity session IPA. What's everyone's go-to IPA?
Oh, that's a good question. Hang on.
It's a difficult question, isn't it? It's a bit like what's your favourite record or what's your favourite meal?
Yeah.
They're really tricky questions.
That's the thing. Most IPAs aren't sessionable. The really good ones I'm finding my favourites aren't a sessionable ABV.
Yeah.
It's changed though, hasn't it? I got some data from the guys from Brew London, and they did a survey over lockdown of what people were drinking and how much they were drinking. And what we discovered was that people were drinking every night, but they were having less, and they were more willing to try higher ABV beers. So it's a real mix of, there's less binge drinking than there was before.
Yeah, the thing is, there's less binge drinking, but you're drinking, instead of drinking maybe 2 or 3 nights a week, you're drinking every night of the week or 5 or 6 nights of the week. That's what I find.
There's literally nothing else to do.
Well, that is true, yeah.
That's the problem.
So it's like an average week. This is interesting because we moved house recently and we had to sign up with the new doctors. And one of the questions was how many.
Oh, you always lie on that question.
How many units of alcohol do you drink a week? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
What do you say?
I had to be a bit inventive there, but how many? So, how many units would you guys drink a week? Do you think?
Probably too many.
Honestly, I don't know.
But this is the first time I've had a beer since Saturday. But I had a lot to drink on Saturday.
Wait, what? It's Wednesday, isn't it?
It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I've given
fair play, yeah.
I've given it
Good work.
Yeah.
But normally, I reckon I would probably have a couple of beers every other day on the average week. I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just adding up what I've just said now.
Oh no! Don't base it on tonight. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've got an answer for the fruity IPA that I can session now.
Good change of subject. I like that. That's good.
Well, yeah. Objects in Space by Ridgeside.
Okay.
It's cheap because I know how much Ridgeside charge for shipping, and it is spot on every time. I've had it on cask, and that was the first time I had it. Sorry, not on cask, on keg. I thought it was really, really good. And then I had a can of it recently again, and it hadn't dropped off at all to be canned. So, yeah.
I've not had that one.
Yeah, Ridgeside are in Leeds, and
they're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really solid. They're not going to set the world alight, but every beer they do pretty much bang on what they're saying it's going to be.
So how many units are you meant to have a week?
It's some ridiculous amount, isn't it? I don't even want to think about it because I probably have that many in a day. It's ridiculous.
Like, you're amongst friends.
Well, I've just looked. I've had tonight will have been 10.7 units.
Isn't it something like about 15 a week or something? Oh, it's ridiculous.
Wow. Well, I'm probably around.
The way I see it is that if I have a beer, I feel I like to have a nice craft beer. Makes me feel good. So that in effect, that's good for my mental health.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, the actual alcohol may not be good for you, but for your mental health, it's good for you. Because you enjoy it.
I need to have a few dry days. I need to have a few dry days a week. I can't. I don't seem to be able to drink every day.
No, I'm with you. I can't drink every day. Well, that's not true. I used to drink every day, but what you have to be careful of, right? If you're having 1 or 2 cans every night, fine. It's what happened to me is, and I'm going back a lot of years now. I started having 2 cans, then 4 cans, then 8 cans, then 16 cans every night. And then you've got a problem. So it's trying to do it carefully.
So Adrian's just mentioned the Counter Music Walk of Fame. So I'll be up for that. I'll be up for that. Incorporate some beers into that. That could get messy.
Yeah, I'll be up for that. What about you boys? You fancy it?
Yeah, I'll do anything once.
Oh, it's gone again.
It's gone again.
It's vanished. Simon's just put, I had a day off the beer, and that's when work discovered my drink problem.
Thank you, Derry. You've probably already gone, but we'll say goodbye anyway. She has a Twitch channel as well. So if you want to go and watch her do gaming, I think it's Psych Derry, because she's a psychologist.
Oh.
That's why she worked with me. I needed one. Derry's a legend. Adrian Wooley, but great evening, guys. Old age and tiredness calls the Music Walk of Fame. It's possibly as promoting outgoing. Think it could be arranged. Let me know. Did I read that out right? 21 units a week, I think. Wow. Armageddon. Night all. Enjoyed listening to the chat. And I had a day after beer, and that's when work discovered my drink problem. There you go. So I think we'll call it a day there, because
feels like a natural conclusion.
3 hours and 13 minutes. Paul's lost the football. We're all knackered, and Dave has gone.
Yeah, he's just gone home.
So
just a microphone.
So thank you everybody for joining. We really loved every minute of it. You guys, you can stay on for. Don't worry, I'll end the broadcast. We'll still be in here. But thank you all for coming. And I'm sorry I fluffed up the beginning of it. It's been a great fun. I've really enjoyed it tonight. It's been really good fun. So thank you all for coming. And we'll see you on the other side. More videos coming soon.
Cheers, guys.
And don't forget Daft About Craft and what's the company that sponsored you?
Real Ale. They're going to be our new sponsors.
Awesome. Real Ale. There you go. Get yourself a beer box from them. It's not as good as ours, but it's fine. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. And we'll speak.